from Malaysia and also from the UK. Thank you for spending your Saturday evening with us at the PDVL UK Bar Event 2025. Today's section is all about helping you to understand how to prepare for your bar journey in the UK. And you will be hearing from the top bar course providers who will share insights about their programs, as well as we have our student panel where current students and graduate will share their real experiences and offer you their valuable advices based on their own journey. My name is Maple, together with me, Miss MT from PDVL. Before we begin, let me quickly introduce who we are. PDVL Overseas Advisory was established in 2007, and for more than 15 years, we have been guiding students to study overseas, not only in UK, but also in Australia, New Zealand, the US, and many other countries. We have offices across Malaysia, Indonesia, Thailand, China, Taiwan, and Japan. And our services are completely free for students. So from your very first consultation until you arrive in the UK, our team will support you every step of the way from university to visas until the accommodation applications. So why should you choose PDVL to help with your bar applications? We have been working closely with UK Bar School for over 15 years, and our counselors specialize in legal education. We are a British Council certified agent and also serve as an official UCAS and British Council IELTS representative. Most importantly, we have a strong network of alumni and Inns of Court networks members who can share real experiences and give you a guidance along the way. Let's go through the steps to becoming a barrister in the UK. It's actually very structured. So first, you will complete your LLB or a law conversion course. That's your academic stage. So next, you will have to join one of the 4 Inns of Court in London. That's your membership stage. Then you apply for a bar training course, also called BTC, BBC, BBC, depending on the university that you attended. This is your vocational stage. So during your BTC studies, you will also need to complete 10 qualifying sections organized by your inns, such as moots, lectures, or formal dinners. So once all that's done, you will be called to the bar, so which is a big milestone that marks you as a qualified barrister. So the bar course in the UK are regulated by the Bar Standard Board, or we call BSB. So there are 8 authorized universities that offer this program. So which is BPP University, the University of Law, Northumbria University, Nottingham Trent University, Manchester Metropolitan University, Cardiff University, UB Bristol, and City Law School in London. So all of these institutions are equally recognized by the BSB and also the LPQB in Malaysia. So today we are fortunate to have representatives from BPP University, the University of Law, and Northumbria University joining us to share some about their BTC program and LLM program. So many students often ask, what do I need to be qualified for a bar course? So here are the main requirements. So normally students will need a qualifying law degree, which is LLB with a least 2-1 classification, or if your degree is not in law, you will need a law conversion course such as the GDL, PGDL with at least 2-2 classification. Strong English proficiency is essential. You will need an IELTS score for 7.5 overall with a 7.5 in each individual section. You must also become a member of one of the 4 Inns of Court before starting the bar course. So don't worry, I want to reassure you that PDVL will guide you through every single steps when you are ready to apply. At PDVL, we make the application process smooth and stress-free. So you will first share your LLB results or your predicted grades to us, and we will review the grades to match with suitable bar providers. Some university might ask for a short essay or an interview, and we will help you to prepare for that too. So once you receive your offer, we will assist you with the offer acceptance process, with the deposit payment, visas, CAS requests, and accommodation applications, all the way until you fly to the UK. Our services are simple but complete. Before you apply, we will guide you on the course entry requirements, fees, scholarships, and check all your documents before submissions. After you get the offer, we will handle for the follow-ups, visas, and pre-departure arrangement. And once you are in the UK, you will still have the access to our alumni networks, including the past bar students who are now practicing lawyers or baristas. And we are also offer extra rebates like INS membership sponsorships every year. So you might be wondering whether you can apply on your own. The answer is yes, but it typically takes more time and research. There's also a higher chances of missing some important documents or details that could delay your offer or visas. So PDVL support is completely free for students. So we will check every single documents, and we review your personal statement, prepare for your interviews, assist with IELTS and visa steps, and connect you with our alumni and INS networks. So applying on your own might take words and manage everything by your own, but PDVL will offer more and easier, faster, and worry-free route. And the most important one is we are free of charge. So let me also share the timeline for the BAR September 2026 intake from November to January. So we will need you to get your documents ready and share with us and apply through PDVL. So from February to April, you will receive the offer, accept the offers and pay deposits, join the INS and arrange accommodations or take your IELTS if needed. From June to August, you will complete the TB screening, the health screening if required, submit your final degree transcript and certificates, apply for your visas and book for your flight. In September, you will attend PDVL pre-departure briefings and also prepare for flying to the UK. So please take notes that we do offer the INS sponsorship rebate, so you can submit the documents to us for application by 30th of October. And also the INS scholarship deadlines will be on 7 November. We are truly grateful for the trust that students and parents place in us. PDVL has received wonderful feedbacks for the guidance we provide to the students, from applications to visas, through the ways they have a smooth settlement in the UK. These feedbacks always remind us that why we do and what we do. So our mission is clear: to make our students' study journey easier, safer, and completely stress-free. Now, I have something special to announce for all of you attending for sections today. Every student who attend this section is eligible to claim for the PDVL INS of Court membership sponsorship, which is worth up to £200. And if you stay with us until the very end of the sessions, you will have a chances to win prizes in our event raffles. We are giving away a one-way flight ticket to the UK worth £500 plus £15 Just Eat vouchers for 5 lucky winners. So please stay tuned until the very end of the sections. Okay? And without further delay, let me introduce our distinguished speakers. First, we have Mr. Nigel, the program and student lead for the bar practice course at the University of Law. Nigel was called to the bar in 1994 by Grace Inn and spent over 20 years practicing criminal law at campus in Manchester. He now leads the BPC across the Manchester and Liverpool campuses, specializing in criminal skills and advocacy. Nigel is the author of Life as a Junior Barrister and has a new book called The Skill of Modern Advocacy coming out soon. So please welcome Mr. Nigel from the University of Law.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Thank you, Maple. Thank you, MT. Nice to see you. Nice to see everybody here. Can you all hear me okay?
Yes.
Good, good, good. There's a bit of background noise here. I hope that's not coming through too badly. So, welcome everybody. Very nice to see you. I love doing these sessions. I love to meet people who are interested in doing the bar, because that was me a little while ago now, in 1993, when I started the bar course. So what I thought I'd do, I've got some a short presentation here. So let me see if I can share my screen and bring it up, and then we'll be able to quickly talk through what I'm going to discuss with everyone today. Let me see now. So if I do this, let me know, Maple MT, if this is displayed on the screen all right, or if there's a problem. All good?
Oh, good.
Thank you very much. Okay, so studying for the bar. So I just thought I'd consider with you what it's like and what the University of Law can do for you, because just maybe a little bit about my background. This is not a session about me, but I'm typical of the lecturers who you'll meet on the bar practice course at whichever of our campuses you come to, in that I was a practitioner. So I was called in 1994, as it happens. I began my career with the Crown Prosecution Service, so as an employed barrister. And then in 2000, I moved to the independent bar, and I've been prosecuting and defending for 20 years before I joined the university. So that's who I am. But as I say, it's not about me. I'm typical. All the lecturers who you will meet, whichever of our campuses you may come to, we've all been in practice, or we are still partly in practice. And I think that's really essential when it comes to a course that trains you for the bar. So I wanted to begin really with just considering, and you'll know all this, I appreciate. Ooh, I've gone dark here, haven't I? Never mind, I'll sort that out in a minute. But what does a barrister do? And you will know all this. What you'll be doing as a barrister is advising clients. What about? You know, they'll look to you for advice on the law, on their case. You know, they're often anticipating litigation or in it already, and they want you to help. And everybody, when they consult a lawyer, always wants to know, what are my chances of success? That's really, really critical. And as a barrister, you will be an expert in the rules of litigation, because that's your job. You will represent your clients in court, and this is the part, of course, that we always think about mostly when we consider being a barrister. And then when we do all that, and in everything we do, we have standards of ethical conduct which we must adhere to. We'll be drafting cases, documents that will be deployed to help our client's case. So that's a quick rundown of things that you anticipate as a barrister you will be doing. As a lawyer in whatever field, wherever you are in the world, they're the sorts of things that lawyers do. What does the University of Law offer? So here are the subjects, if you like, the modules that you'll be studying. So there's criminal litigation, you'd expect that. And this screen's just on crime, drafting criminal documents, writing an opinion for a solicitor, the CPS, perhaps if you're prosecuting, or your defense solicitors if you're defending, about the chances of success, about preparing court documents. You might be drafting what we call defense statements, and we'll teach you how to have an effective conference with a client. So how to give advice in person, and how to interview the client effectively so that you find out from them all the information that you'll need in order to advise them properly. And of course, that box on the far right there, criminal advocacy, mega important, and you'll take 2 assessments in that. Evidence in chief of witnesses, that's where you call your own witness to give evidence and you elicit their account from them to the court, and cross-examination, where we expect you to prepare to cross-examine the other side's witness. And all of those things on screen there are subjects that you'll study on the criminal side. So flip to the next slide here, which is what you'll be studying on the civil side. So the civil litigation equivalent of criminal litigation that we looked at before, you're going to need to know what the rules of litigation are, how to advise about resolving disputes out of court. That's always been an important part of a lawyer's job, strangely, and is getting bigger. Opinion writing, that's tested much more thoroughly on the civil side. You would take an exam in this. We teach you how to structure an opinion, how to put together all the information that you will need, how to do your legal research. We'll look at that on the next slide as well. Civil advocacy. So here's another advocacy aspect. This is not with witnesses. This is you and the judge. So you would write a skeleton argument, typically. You would submit it to the assessor in advance of your civil advocacy assessment, and you would turn up and you would make your submission. So we call this submission advocacy. And you see drafting there on the top right, drafting court documents. There might be particulars of claim, I guess, or a set-off and counterclaim. Subjects I don't know a lot about, because of course I teach on the criminal side. but luckily we have staff who know about those things. So here are, on the civil side, the subjects that you'll be learning about on the bar practice course at the University of Law. And here are the two extra ones, ethics and legal research. And we put these on this separate screen here because these are pass or fail. The pass mark anyway for any bar exam is 60%, but these two, you don't get to know your specific mark, you just have to pass them. All right, so that's showing you, I think, how ULaw's bar practice course fits what it is a barrister needs to learn about. And so far, we've looked at the subjects that you'll study. And you'll study those subjects at any bar course provider. But what is it about the University of Law that makes it so good? And in my opinion, it is very good. And what I always say to students is, I guess you'd expect me to say that because I work for the University of Law. But I had 20 years at the independent bar. You know, I can't get rid of the attitude of thinking independently. And to be honest, if I joined an organization as an employee and didn't like it, or I thought the course was no good, I go back to the bar. But the reason why I'm still here is because I really love this job and I like teaching students. And I think it's a good course. Okay, so in the course of your study, you will study 50 hours of advocacy. About that. That's a lot. And some of those classes will be small. So advocacy classes could be groups of 6 and the lecturer, groups of 2. In your civil advocacy mock, just you and the lecturer. So the opportunity we have to give you direct feedback and help you improve and perform the best you can when you come to the assessment, that's a great opportunity we have. And that's a great opportunity you have to get some very exact feedback to help you. We see here networking opportunities, and that's dead right. Being the program lead at Manchester and Liverpool, we have program leads at other campuses too. We all have this as one of our main objectives. We introduce you to barristers. We have guest speakers come in. They have not just guest speakers, but panels to come in and talk with students about the career at the bar, about what civil advocacy is, their tips on examination in chief and cross-examination. So we bring in people who are doing the job right now to give you their view about things, and you're able to network with them. And I organize lots of events at Manchester, Liverpool, and I tell all my students, come to all of them. Suppose you know, I definitely want to do civil litigation, commercial law, that's my area. That's fabulous. But come anyway if I have a criminal advocate come in and talk, because you never know, there might be something that you learn that's really helpful to you. All right then, what can we say? Oh, now, Maple, you covered this before, didn't you? So just this quick slide here with these things that slide into position. Law degree, obviously. You can do another degree, but you have to do a year's conversion before you do the bar practice course, and then you can be called to the bar. So that's a fairly straightforward barrister route. And if I'm honest, that's not changed. I mean, I was called to the bar, like I said to you, in October 1994. It's been the same ever since. The bar course hasn't really changed very much since then. The University of Law, well, because we are everywhere across England, you'll find that we have a large alumni network. And that's really helpful for you because the first thing I do, you come on your first day on the course, I welcome you. Oh, that's good, the light's wrong now. I'll welcome you in your first day. And I have at least 2 former students come in and I give them this brief. I'm going to give you 10 minutes each. Tell the students, these new students, anything and everything you think they need to know on this course. And I don't vet what they say. They can say anything. And I have alumni in throughout the year talking about the application process for pupilages, the frame of mind and the attitude and the way of thinking to get into when you look to move on from the bar course. And we have a careers service. Now, I'm just going to say the expert careers service. Sorry, I can hear there's a bit of noise here. Maple, is it okay? Is this noise interfering or is everything okay there? Can you hear okay? I'm going to assume that you all can. So careers service, I call them employability. Now, I can tell you about Manchester and Liverpool employability because I work with them a lot. But I know from my other program lead colleagues across the other campuses, they're just as good. I really rate the employability service. I would recommend the first thing you should do when you accept your place on our bar practice course, even before you come for your first day on campus, make an appointment with the employability team, go through your CV, talk it through with them. Tell them where you want to go with your career, or if you don't know that exactly what your ideas are, and you will find that they will offer you some immensely practical and valuable advice. And get that advice straight away, because the employability team, I promise you, they are brilliant. And if it comes to stage where you have an interview with any organization, any part of the world, make an appointment and see employability. They will help you. Taught by experts on the left there. Well, I hope I've shown you that the people you're being taught by on the bar practice course are experts, because we've been there and done the job. We haven't just learned it in theory, and here we are teaching you the theory of things. The bar course is not a place for theory. This is practical application of skills. Honestly, it's the most fun you'll ever have. It's hard work. I'm not going to say otherwise. You'll not have much room in your lives for a lot outside the bar course in that year. But you'll be taught by experts and you'll progress. We see the change through the year watching you students. You won't see the change because you're inside yourselves, of course, experiencing the course, but we see how you develop. All right, then. Just that bottom part there. Prepare you for a professional career. I'm just going to pick that out because our skills workshops are what I would say they're relentlessly practical. So you will very typically have mock case papers each week. Sometimes we develop case papers you've had before with a new document relevant to the skill in the new workshop. But we'll give you briefs with statements in and exhibits, just like you would have in real life. So we're getting you used to seeing things in the world of the practitioner. So this slide tells us where we are. Now, obviously, I'm from Manchester, and we partner with the University of Liverpool, as you see on the right there. And now I know I would say this. Manchester, Liverpool are great cities. You know, I did my law degree in London, and I loved it. And when I did the bar course, because it was so long ago, you could only do it in London. Other great cities are available. I was at our Leeds campus yesterday. That's a great place. So these are all brilliant places. Manchester, Liverpool, I'd encourage you to consider Manchester and Liverpool, because just look at what they have to offer. But honestly, the other cities, also great. Wherever suits you, we're bound to have a campus relatively nearby that will offer you the bar course. Here's a slide here. This is where all our alumni come from and go to. And here are some of the facilities that we make available to you. I've talked about employability. Elite, you might not know what Elite is. It's our, how can I put it, our online database. So you will access your courses on the bar practice course through Elite. So everything is online, convenient for you to access and read, and we have videos on there and other ways of giving information. So home, on the phone, on the train, on the bus, with your AirPods in, you can access the content anywhere that suits you. We have academic coaches. So first thing when we get on campus, we'll give you an academic coach, which is one of our lecturers, and we all take a group of students, and our function as academic coaches is to be your point of contact for any questions you might have about studying and the course itself. As distinct from student journey advisors, who are a team of expert advisors who advise you on anything to do with being a student that's not course related, and anything can happen in your lives that you could do with a bit of help with, and we're there. We have study skills team and support team there. If you'd like to take a short session or repeated sessions on how to study, if you think that would help you, we've got a team there, and these are things we offer. Well-being. Every campus has a well-being advisor. We have a whole well-being hub accessible online, and you can always speak to someone either remotely or on campus. Well-being, I talk a lot about well-being with my students because it's a big thing as practitioners. You know, we've all seen the television dramas about lawyers who get caught, will work very hard, work too many hours, feel the stress. Okay, they're dramas on the telly and in movies, but the reality is, you know, you need to look after your mental health. And really, put aside being a lawyer, whatever professional job you do in your lives, it's the same. You need to look after yourselves. And so we start that process now for those students who haven't thought about it previously. Well-being, super important. Library service, I see there, the bottom right. Again, it's an online library service. Actually, we do give you some books. Other providers will sell them to you, but we have books that are included as part of your fee. So we give you the white book, which is what you'll need for civil litigation workshops. We give you Blackstone's criminal practice, which you'll need for the criminal litigation workshops. We give you manuals on drafting, manuals on ethics. So a few manuals there and a couple more besides, which we give you in paper form, all accessible on the library as well, but they're the core texts. So we make sure you've got the choice as suits you, paper, online, for those major ones. And there's a massive range of books that the library service have online. And the other thing about the library service is, and I've used this, because sometimes I can't find stuff I'm looking for if it's something unusual, there's a chat function. And one of the librarians will answer your chat and will help you find something straight away. That's really good. That really saves time. If you're struggling, can't find something, whiz off a message, bang, solved. So this is a slide telling you about the study modes that we have. So you might be used to thinking about the full-time bar course, which is what we teach at Manchester, Liverpool, and all the campuses offer that. You'd study generally between September and April, something like that. We do a part-time course. Not all campuses do that. The nearest one to me is in Leeds. The part-time course studying at the weekends, and it takes 2 years. And how we divide that is you do criminal in 1 year, civil in the next. Entirely suits you. Often students think, well, if I'm doing it, I'm just going to do it and get it done. Do it for the year, and then I'm finished. And I understand that. That's what I did. And here on the right side of the slide, we see blended learning. So the best way to describe this is we have what we call the PEC model, PEC, prepare, engage, consolidate. And for each workshop, you will do some preparation. We give you some tasks, we give you some reading. Sometimes the reading's quite a lot, so you'll be structuring your time well. You'll be very good with your work calendar. And having prepared, you turn up and we have engaged tasks that we run through in the workshop, where we practice what you've learned, we test you, we help you develop your knowledge and your skills. And then when the workshop's done, go home, we have some consolidation tasks, just some extra tasks and thoughts and videos to watch that just help to seal it up here before you move on to prepare for the next week. And that is a mix, really, of online learning and classroom. And there you see consolidation, that bottom box there. Now, practice assessments, I'm going to come on to that in a further slide in a moment or two. This is a slide that tells you about the part-time course. Going to whiz over that because the main thing there we talked about is it's weekends and it takes 2 years. Okay, where are we going next? I think we've covered all of this, haven't we? Materials included in the fees, smaller class sizes for advocacy, blended learning, online and face-to-face. That individual feedback's so important in those small groups. And open door policy, well, my students and ours at Manchester Liverpool know you speak to us about anything, anytime. If I'm not on campus when you are, whiz me a message, I'll find time to meet you. Whether it's in a Teams call, if that suits you best, or on campus. We don't hide ourselves away and make ourselves difficult to see. No, our task is to help you. That's why we do the job. Now, I think I've got my slides slightly out of order here. Yes, before we come on to the master's course, I just want to deal with what we call sign up. So this is important because some of the exams you take are multiple choice. So your criminal litigation exam at the end, your civil litigation exam at the end, and your ethics exam that you take a little bit earlier in March. They're all multiple choice, or sometimes single best answer, where more than one of the options you're given technically right. You've got to choose the best one. So they can be quite challenging. Don't think, I'm sure you won't think this. Don't think, well, they're quite straightforward because I'll be able to discount one of the answers straight away, and then I'll probably remember something that helps with which answer it is. Doesn't work. You've really got to know your stuff. They're quite devious, some of these questions, and the litigation ones are set not by the university but by the Bar Standards Board, and every bar student in the whole country takes those. So how do you prepare for those challenging multiple choice exams? Well, we have a system called Sign Up, and it works like this. Your university lecturers across all the campuses get together and we all write some questions. We all know what the questions are like because we're used to them. And we draft questions of our own in a similar style to those that you'll face in the exams. And we put them on what we call our sign-up system. I don't know why it's called sign-up. And I thought I'd just give you a couple of examples. So here's a snapshot that I took from one of the 11 questions that I saw on Sign Up yesterday. Ahmed appears at the magistrate's court for assault, alleged he's punched a work colleague. He's pleaded guilty. And because this is his third offence of assault, the court's considering imposing a community order with an unpaid work requirement. Which of the following statements is correct concerning the number of hours of unpaid work the court can impose? And this question is drafted specifically to test your knowledge of the minimum and maximum number of hours, which is on the syllabus. Make sure all the questions are things that you would need to know. And you would know, having gone to the workshops and done your revision before the exam takes place, that the correct answer here is C. So you see how detailed the knowledge is that you'll need. Here's another question. Now here's one, you see I've answered this one correctly. And this is a question that tests your knowledge of abuse of process as a mechanism in criminal litigation proceedings. And this is the screen that you would see. So the idea is you would do your revision, and if there is a workshop that considers abuse of process, and you will do this question perhaps as part of your consolidation afterwards to test your revision. It's very useful because if you get it wrong, I mean, that's not a bad thing. That helps to show you where maybe you need to focus your revision before you do the exam. So we do everything we can to get you used to the style of questions so that you can perform well. And where you get some questions wrong, you're able then to focus your revision and make sure that when you sit the exam, you're as well prepared as you can be. So this is what the university does and I've drafted some of these questions too. This is what we do to help give you the best chance, because at the University of Law, it really matters to us that you do well in these exams. So maybe a minute or two on the masters that you can do. And here you can see we've got 3 options. You can choose one of those. And I'll just say one thing on this slide. Take that middle option that we call optional modules. It's different than the other two because your optional modules LLM doesn't even start till after you've finished your bar exams. So there's a nice split in half there. Bar exams, then modules. The other two run alongside the bar course. So you need to just factor in your time management. So let's just whiz over these because I got these in the wrong order when I put them together. And here's a student from the Nottingham campus a couple of years ago talking about the pro bono experience. Now, I wouldn't invite you to read all of that. So what I've done is I've colored in red at the bottom there, probably what is the most direct expression of what the pro bono experience does. So with a pro bono, you'd typically be grouped together with other students who are doing the pro bono, and you will prepare presentations maybe. You might go along and give a presentation to a school, to the teachers about safeguarding law. You might go along to a law clinic and help the supervising lawyer in charge of pro bono at your campus to give real advice to real clients on employment law, having done work and preparation first. So that's a pro bono experience. So in a way, you get a master's for learning how to be a lawyer. This is our most popular master's option. I can see why. So here's a student from the Bloomsbury campus a couple of years ago who took advantage of the dissertation route. So here, this student, typically, of all those who do dissertations, wanted to broaden her experience and develop very intense knowledge about a particular area of law so that she could show expertise in it by getting a master's. I get why you do that. And here is a student who studied optional modules. So what happens here is we give you a list of modules. You choose 2 that are on offer at the campus you're going to. And you attend workshops in each of them for 10 weeks, typically, of course, during the summer months after your bar course. And you take an exam in each of them. You get a master's out of it. And here's my list of some of the optional modules that we offer. Not all of them at all campuses all the time. So you'll need to be careful. If some are very interesting to you, make sure that they are on offer. I think that's impressive. I see zemiology there on the right. I don't even know what that is, but it sounds impressive. All right then. Oh, here's just an idea of the course fees. This is for the 24-25 academic year. To be honest, I've put this together over time. I don't know how accurate that is, if I'm being fair. Those figures are not reliable. I probably got those wrong. There are other people who know about these things better. And if I may, Marla, MT Maple, I've got a few slides on our selection process. I think it's worth just talking about this from my perspective as the program lead, and maybe you know something about our selection events. You can't just apply to get on our bar course and you get a place. You must pass a selection event. And the reason why we do this is we have two conditions to get on the bar course. Get a 2-1, pass a selection event. And here's what the selection event is. We will invite you to a session, a couple of hours on a day that will suit you. We'll give you some straightforward case papers and invite you to present a plea mitigation. So you'll imagine that you've got a client who's pleaded guilty and you're now mitigating on her or his behalf to get the lowest sentence from the judge. And then you'll be interviewed. This is what the interview will be about. Typically you, why you're interested in the law, what you've done that might in your life that might suit being a lawyer. And they might be things like this. We might ask you about your communication skills, how good you are at solving problems. We might ask you about mistakes you've made, not because we're looking to refuse people who've made mistakes. That's not the point at all. Listen, I've made mistakes a lot over my lifetime. I wouldn't expect other people to have made none at all, but we all learn from mistakes. We get better by making mistakes. We should never be afraid of mistakes. And if you can show you've made mistakes and learned from them, that makes you a much stronger candidate. Strengths and weaknesses. So those are the sorts of things we talk about in the interview process. We don't expect, incidentally, that you're going to be a brilliant advocate in your plea mitigation. You won't be the finished article. Actually, the bar course doesn't make you the finished article. The bar course prepares you for your next stage of training. We never stop learning. 20 years I did advocacy, I never stopped learning. We do scholarships. The university has scholarships available, but on the bar course as well, we have advocacy scholarships, and you can apply for advocacy scholarships when you apply for your place at the selection event. So these are paid. We have a team of scholars at each campus, and what you would do is you'd work with us, the lecturer team, and the advocacy scholarship team on campus, and make sure that you're putting on events that will help all students. Okay, just going to whiz through. I'm going to whiz through these because I know here you are with PDVL. You're in very safe hands, and they will know everything. I've got some long experience with PDVL, and they're really excellent. So there you are. That's the end of what I was going to run through. Thank you very much for coming today and putting up with me for half an hour. Maple, MT, Marla, are there any other matters that I can help with while I'm here?
Thank you, Nigel, for the informative section. So student, if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat box or unmute yourself to ask directly. Any questions?
What I sometimes do, Maple, I mean, I'm easily emailable, nigel.booth@law.ac.uk. I'm happy to take, you know, if people think later, oh, I should have asked this, just send me an email. I'll do everything I can to help.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Nigel.
Oh, yes, well done, putting that in the chat there. That's a good idea.
Thank you.
Marvelous. Oh, what if a student gets a 2-2? I see that. Good question. If you get a 2-2, what happens then is your application is passed to one of the program leads, which will we will consider specifically your situation and what you've done and what you have to offer that might fill that gap between a 2-2 and a 2-1. So entry to the course not guaranteed. We do find that students with 2-2s tend to do a little less well on the course. But don't let it put you off, because there may be something about you that helps if this is you in this position. Okay, is that everything we've got coming up? Oh, I see. Have you got Emma Piasecki coming up soon? Ah, Emma Piasecki is great.
Yeah.
Good.
Hello, Nigel.
Hello, Emma. How nice to see you.
Yes, I was just also thinking that you're great, Nigel. So it's very nice to see you on this Saturday morning.
Nice to see you. Good. All right. Well, Maple, MT, are we, have you done with me? Can I help with anything else?
I think, can I know, students, for those after the session, you have any questions that you would like to ask before Nigel leave the meeting room? If not, you can contact PDVL consultant, then we can assist you with your queries later on. Thank you.
Marvelous.
Thank you, Nigel.
Thank you then. All right, I'll log out. I'll see you soon, Maple,
Saturday.
MT. Thank you.
See you, bye. Okay, next we have Associate Professor Emma, the head of department at Northumbria Law Schools. Emma was called to the bar in 2001 by Grace Inn and practiced as a criminal barrister for many years, handling serious cases in both Crown and Youth Courts. She is now an associate professor and academic member of New Park Court Chambers. Her research focuses on expert evidence in criminal justice, and she published widely in this area. Emma helped design Northumbria Bar course and worked closely with partners across Malaysia, Thailand, and Mauritius. So please welcome Associate Professor Emma from Northumbria University. Thank you.
Thank you for such a kind introduction. I'm delighted to be with you all here this morning. I'm hoping that you can see the presentation as well as me. Is that right or not?
Yes, Emma can see the slides.
Yeah.
Excellent. So my very valuable colleague, Gary Lim, is with me today, and he knows that I am not the best person with Zoom. So the fact that we've got this far and I haven't electrocuted myself so far is an absolute success. Okay, so I'm very grateful to be with you here today. I appreciate that it is evening in Malaysia, and I hope that I can distill into this presentation the areas that you would like me to consider. So Maple and MT, can I just check how long would you like me to speak for, and would you like me to just leave some time for questions at the end? What is best for you?
Emma, you can have about 20 minutes of the info sessions and insights, and then we can leave like 5 to 10 minutes for the Q&A.
Perfect. Okay, so I will disappear from your screens just for now while I take you through the presentation, so that my over-the-top hand gestures don't distract you too much, and then I will come back to you as we come to the questions and answer. Okay, so Northumbria Law School. We do deliver, as you know, the bar course at Northumbria University, and it is, as is often described, the Rolls Royce of programmes. If it is the programme that you are seriously considering, then you can give yourself a pat on the back immediately, because it is a magnificent choice. So I'm going to talk to you first a little bit about Northumbria University and Newcastle. So what then about Northumbria University? Well, we are a very old university. We have been around in one form or another since back in 1871, but today we are a very modern university. We are research intensive with a particular focus on professional practice programmes in the law school. And as you'll see there, we were awarded Modern University of the Year by the Times and the Times Higher Education, and I'm going to return to that in a moment. So why think about Northumbria University at all? Well, the basics are that we are a very welcoming university in a very welcoming city. We have a very diverse student population. We are based in the very city centre of Newcastle upon Tyne in the northeast of England, and we are one of two universities in what is a relatively small city, and therefore it is the case that it is incredibly student friendly. It's a very vibrant, cosmopolitan student city, which I am sure that you, like almost every student before you, will absolutely love. So what I'd like to turn to now is this kind of information. And why am I turning to this now? Well, the reason I'm turning to this first of all is because when you are deciding which university you would like to do your bar course at, there are millions of things that you need to take into account. And some of them are more important than others. And I often think, as students in your position, it's a really, really difficult decision to make. So one of the things to make your choice easier that I think is really worthwhile thinking about is what those rankings are. Now, I know Malaysia very, very well. I am so fortunate to be able to visit Malaysia twice per year, every year for the last 12 years, but for the COVID years. And I know that students and also their families are very interested in rankings. So let's put that to bed first of all, because Northumbria is ranked very highly in multiple different metrics. So you can see on the bottom left-hand side of the screen there, Northumbria was awarded the Times University of the Year for 2022. That was awarded in 2023. In 2025, we were named the Modern University of the Year, again by the Times and the Sunday Times. And they are often described, those awards are often described as the Oscars of higher education, but also in terms of research power, we're in the top 25, we're in the top 30 for the number of undergraduates who go into skilled jobs. We are the number 2 student city, top 100 universities, young universities in the world, top 40 UK university overall, and 6th in the UK for law. So you can take it as read that we have the background and the foundations in terms of rankings to be able to deliver excellence across the board. So we are also the largest law school in the northeast of England. We have a reputation not only in the UK but across the world for excellence in legal education. We have fabulous buildings, one of which is the law school, which was voted in the top 50 most impressive law school buildings in the world. And it's in that building that you will learn your professional practice skills in the context of what are realistic courtroom facilities. And I'll show you some photographs of those in a moment. We are a very active university in terms of practice, and in the law school, whilst we have that research foundation, we are very much about doing things. Northumbria Law School is a doing law school, which is why we excel in professional practice education. We were awarded the Queen's University, the Queen's Anniversary Prize, forgive me, back in 2013. And you can only imagine the excitement that that generated. And that was for our Student Law Office. And as many of you will know, the Student Law Office is exactly what it says in the title. It is a law office which is run by students and manages cases for real-life clients, members of the public who come to them for legal representation and advice in all areas of practice. It is an outstanding student law office to which you will have access as part of your bar course if you choose to do the bar course LLM, and I'll come to that in a moment. So in terms of the city, as I said, 2023 we were voted second best student city. We've been voted first best student city so many times that I can't remember, and it is a really fabulous place to live. And you've got an image there of the quayside. We are about 10 minutes walk from there, just onto the right hand side of the screen. That is the River Tyne that runs through our city. Just to the right, the very right hand side of the screen, you can see the Crown Court and the County Court, and you can also see, if you really squash your nose up against the screen, you can see my chambers, and the university is about 10 minutes walk from there. So where then would you stay if you were a student at Northumbria University? Now, this is one of the questions that I get asked most frequently by students when I am in Malaysia. It is, where is the accommodation and how far will I have to walk? Well, I can tell you that you won't have to walk very far at all. What you can see on the screen there is a selection of our university accommodation, okay? And there is lots to choose from. However, I would suggest that you look at the least expensive options, okay? Some of the options are very fancy. Some of them are very expensive, and you don't need either fancy or expensive. And the reason that you don't need either fancy or expensive is because all of the accommodation is incredibly clean. It's all incredibly safe. It has 24/7 security monitoring, and it is all within easy walking distance of the law school. So this little map here shows you the campus, and I can tell you that almost all of those university accommodation blocks are within sight of my office in the law school. So I will be able to see you, whether you like it or not, as you wander into university. Okay, Newcastle is also a terrific travel hub. One of the things that students very sensibly always ask me is, how do we get there from Malaysia? Well, as I've said, I travel twice per year. I've travelled in various different routes. I've travelled via Heathrow, and then a direct flight to KL. I've travelled via Paris. I've travelled via Amsterdam, but I prefer now to travel via Dubai. The times and the frequency of the flights are spectacular, and it is incredibly reliable service. But don't just think about travelling home, think about travelling elsewhere. Because of our location in the northeast of England, the cost of flights is generally quite low, and the accessibility of some wonderful European destinations is really on your doorstep. So one of the things that I always encourage students to do whilst they are here with us in Newcastle is to get themselves off to Amsterdam or to Barcelona or to Prague or to Rome, because it really is super easy. We are 3 hours by train to London, and I always encourage students to visit London while you are with us. It's an incredibly easy train journey, a direct train, door to door, and also 1.5 hours up to Edinburgh, which I will so encourage you to visit without any hesitation whatsoever. Okay, so I'm going to try and just pop back onto your screens now, if I can. Let's see if I can manage this. Okay, I just want to check in so that you know that if you've got any questions as we bump along, you can ask them. I can't see any in the chat for me at the moment, but if anybody has any burning questions on which I've spoken on so far, then please do pop them into that chat. Okay, so I might just stay with you on screen if that's okay. Tell me if I'm too much of a distraction, but I feel a little bit like I'm talking to myself if I don't. Okay, so bar course at Northumbria University. You will have heard a lot about the bar course so far from Nigel and from everybody at PDVL. Nigel is quite right. The colleagues at PDVL are incredibly knowledgeable. So I won't recite all of the fundamental basic stuff. What I'm going to try and help you with today is what is a little bit different about Northumbria University. Because as I said at the beginning, it is a really, really big decision for you to make. And one of the things that I always say to students is think of all the potential bar course providers that you might want to go to, okay? And then instead of trying to choose one, discard some, okay? So reduce your options down to, I don't know, your top 3, and then work out what they do that is particularly attractive to you, okay? Because when you're trying to pick one from them all, it's too big a decision, okay? So what about the bar course at Northumbria University? Well, as was said in that very kind introduction, I was involved in the design of the new bar course some years ago now, when it was revalidated by the Bar Standards Board. And the drive behind that design was to make the bar course as much like practice as possible. And what we've ended up with is a pretty innovative design, and I'll take you through that just now. So the leadership programme are my colleagues Sarah and Catherine Dunn. They will look after you and the delivery of the programme over the course of the year. Both of those are barristers. Catherine Dunn, when I first joined practice, was already a formidable prosecutor and is still so. So if you have any difficulties on the bar course, then Catherine Dunn is certainly the person to roll up her sleeves and get them sorted out for you. Sarah is also a fabulous programme leader. Sarah is the one that when you are homesick or when you're worried about something, she will have a ready box of tissues and a giant packet of biscuits on her desk to chivvy you along. But they are both an incredible support to students. Okay, so what then does is encompassed on the bar course? Well, you know what the aim is. The aim is to get you from undergraduate study, into practice. And that's what we do. We turn you into a professional. And how do we do that? Well, we treat you like a professional from day one of the bar course. You are no longer an undergraduate student who sits and receives information. Okay, you are one of us. You are a barrister in training. So you know that you study 5 skills areas, and you know that you have to study the knowledge areas. You will be assessed in the knowledge areas by the centralised assessments, as you know, and you will be assessed in the skills areas by us at Northumbria University, with those assessments taking place throughout the year so that you are not overwhelmed. Now, when I said, remember at the beginning of the bar course section, think about what each place does differently and work out if that is for you. So one of the things to bear in mind about Northumbria is that we don't teach you the skills separately. Okay, they are not taught as individual modules. So you don't just turn up to an advocacy class and do a bit of advocacy and then forget about it because it's not connected to next week. Actually, the way that you are taught is in the context of family professional skills, civil professional skills, and criminal professional skills. So you will be given a series of briefs, exactly as if you were in practice, and you will work through those briefs, incorporating elements of drafting, of advocacy, of opinion writing, and of conference skills. So, can I ask a question? Most students are very nervous about the prospect of being taught and having to practice advocacy. Does anybody here share that nervousness? Is anybody nervous about that moment when you have to get onto your feet for the first time on the bar course? Well, yes, the answer is strong. Yes, I think I can see the chat activating here. I'm guessing that might be a yes from somebody. So if you are nervous about advocacy on the bar course, that is absolutely okay, because everybody is. Not everybody admits it, but every single student is nervous to one degree or another. Now, the way that we deal with that on the bar course at Northumbria is that we teach you in groups of 4. So you will have in a classroom for advocacy for the entirety of the year, no more than 4 students in the room, plus your tutor. The purpose of that is clear. It is that we can provide you with incredibly focused one-to-one feedback whilst you have the opportunity to build your confidence and your skills. Now, I've been teaching advocacy for the best part of 20 years. And there is nothing that gives me more pleasure than seeing a student who began with not an awful lot of confidence blossom into an excellent advocate. And that happens a lot. How does that happen? Well, it happens because you get focused one-to-one feedback, and we give you the opportunity to develop your confidence. Because you could be that person who is capable of being the best barrister in the whole wide world, but if you're crippled by nerves, nobody will ever know that. So for me, developing your confidence is as important, if not more important, than developing your skills. And you will find that that little group of 4 actually is a support mechanism all of its very own. So in the knowledge subject, you know that you will be assessed by way of centralised assessments. They are not much fun, but they just have to be done. That is part of being an adult. When you're an adult, you have to do things that you might not want to do, but in the long run, it's worthwhile. And that is the centralised assessments. But we do provide you with specialised support, not only on the content, but also in the way that you need to answer the questions. At the end of the programme, you will also be given the opportunity to be involved in some mediation training. That mediation training is the mediation training that is undertaken by practitioners at the bar. If you look at the Bar Council website and you see the adverts for mediation, foundation mediation training, that is what we offer at Northumbria University once you have completed the bar course, but for no additional cost. You don't need me to tell you how much mediation is important. It is significantly less expensive than litigation and therefore is increasing in popularity across the world, and you can leave Northumbria as an accredited foundation level mediator. There are elements of practice weaved in throughout the programme. Expert evidence is my area of expertise. Also forensic statistics and practice management. Just yesterday on the bar course, we had chambers in talking to students, not about law, not about criminal practice, but how you manage your practice as a barrister. We offer you multiple opportunities to build your profile. There are lots of opportunities, but the bar course is busy. So one of the things that we will help you to do is to select which opportunities are best for you. The mock trial competitions internationally are always well represented by Northumbria students, including those on the bar course, and it has led almost directly to international employment opportunities for our students. As I said at the beginning, we are in a very, very nice building. That is the building there. The building on the left-hand side, the third floor, right at the front, is my window to my office. So ever you want to find me, you can find me there. That is the main courtroom. It is an actual real live courtroom that was imported when the court was upgraded. And that is where you can be taught your advocacy. It has been described by external examiners as second to none, and I absolutely agree with them. So that's what the external examiners had to say about Northumbria and what I've got to say about Northumbria. But really, you need to know what the students say about Northumbria. Okay, it is their reviews that are most important. So I ask the students from time to time. This student entertained me no end on the bar course. They were impressed by the high quality education, the campus and the professionalism of the staff. Also the fact that lecturers and tutors on the bar course are practicing barristers, and many of them sit as part-time judges. Also, the range of assessment points throughout the year, students like that a lot, and I understand why. And as you can see, that final point there, speaking right to the heart of our Malaysian students, is there is a lot of accommodation and it is all very near the university. There are multiple ways that you can study the bar course at Northumbria. It's a very innovative programme, but you are interested only in the full-time or the full-time LLM. Which of those you choose is a matter for you. If you choose the LLM, you do the standard bar course plus the SLO, that is the Student Law Office, or a dissertation. I should say, whichever of those you choose, the fee is the same, okay? The reason for that is because I would like you to very much focus on the course that is right for you without being hindered by any additional cost. So the cost is a flat fee. This year it is 13,200, which you will know is very competitive. The fee is the same for international students. It is not higher for international students, nor should it be. And also, as you can see there, it is a standard fee. There is no additional cost, regardless of whether or not you choose to do the LLM. If you choose to do the mediation qualification, that is a matter for you, and there will be no extra cost. Textbooks are included. A qualifying dinner is included, and the BSB registration fee is included. So when you are thinking about fees, which is obviously a really, really important consideration, rest assured that the single fee that you see remains a single fee, regardless of whether you do the LLM, regardless of whether you undertake that mediation training, the value of which is around £2,000 in practice. It is nothing for a Northumbria bar course student. Okay. So you must apply for our scholarships. So I have been telling students from Malaysia for many years, you must apply for these scholarships. And originally, not many Malaysian students did. And now, because I'm quite bossy and I don't stop, lots of Malaysian students apply for scholarships and lots of students from Malaysia get scholarships. We haven't had a year yet where a Malaysian student did not get a scholarship. So please, please apply. Okay. There are 3 full fee scholarships and there are 2 £5,000 scholarships. Do not think that these scholarships are for somebody else. They're not, they're for you. Okay, and if you have any questions about them, PDVL will help and I will help. If I have to sit down with you and help you fill your form in, then I'm quite happy to do that. So the scholarships are a fairly standard form, you know, what you would expect. Why do we want to be a barrister? Why do you want to come to Northumbria, etc., etc.? But please apply for those scholarships. In terms of entry to the bar course, it is 2-1 is the expected classification. So please make sure that you fight for every percentage grade in your undergraduate degree. Deadlines are June for the programme, March for the scholarship, but advice deadline from me, there is none whatsoever. So please just get in touch at any time. And I am going to leave it there so that we have time for some questions. I'm very conscious that I've given you a lot of information. So please do stick on your mic to ask a question, or if you dare not do that just yet, then please feel free to drop a question into the chat. Okay, so any questions, folks? Okay, so very good question about the dinner. So the qualifying sessions have changed slightly, quite properly in their emphasis, to be not just about eating food, but also having an educational experience. The way that the event works at Northumbria is that the end of year dinner also involves an educational element of one kind or another. Sometimes it's speeches, sometimes it's activities, and year on year that is validated by the INS as being one of those qualifying sessions. Okay, so it's a fabulous end of year dinner which has a distinct educational element, and it is one of those qualifying sessions. So it allows you quite properly to undertake some of those qualifying sessions outside of London. And students always ask, do we need to go to London for all of the qualifying sessions? No, you don't. Some of them take place in London, and I would really, really encourage you to take up some of those sessions, but they are also held in various different places around the country, not least a fantastic event that takes place out in Windsor. So yeah, my advice to students is to take up the qualifying sessions in as many different places as possible, so that you can see as many different places as possible whilst you are a student. Okay, any other questions? I appreciate that I've given you a lot of information. I would encourage you to speak to your friends who've already completed or are currently undertaking the bar course. Speak to PDVL, they have a wealth of experience. You can contact our office up at Mid Valley, and Gary Lim is here in the session as well. I'm sure he can drop his email address in, but you can also contact me, like Nigel. Please feel free to just drop me an email. It's emma.piasecki@northumbria.ac.uk, and if there's anything I can help with, I'm always happy to speak.
Thank you, Emma. There's another question for the scholarship application. If a University of Law student who is expected to only get my transcript in April, will I still be able to apply?
Yes. So if you apply, when you apply for the scholarship, it is almost always the case that students don't have their final results by then. So please don't worry about that in your application. Just make that very clear. If you have any concerns about it at the time that you are drafting your application, just drop me an email as well, and I can reassure you closer to the time. But that is absolutely not a problem whatsoever. It is the nature of academic years that by the time you're applying for one thing, you don't quite have the outcome of what you're doing at the moment. So don't worry about that. That's not a problem. But as I say, if you need some reassurance about the scholarship application procedure, then just drop me an email or contact PDVL, who will contact me in turn. The one thing I'd say about the scholarships is this. Now, I know you're all young and you've got very busy lives and it's all incredibly exciting, and March next year seems like a lifetime away. It's not. Put the date in your diary and make sure that that scholarship application gets in on time, because I think one of the big reasons that students from all jurisdictions don't make scholarship applications is that they leave it too late. Okay? So March next year is not very far away. Okay. Any other questions? No. Okay.
I have put Emma emails in the chat box, so should any student have further questions, you can contact Emma or contact PDVL counselor directly for further information that you wish to know. Thank you, Emma.
Thank you.
for
Thank you,
this
Emma.
today.
Thank you. Have a good evening, everybody.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Okay, finally, we have Mr. Jonny, the Head of Law Audiences and Partnership at BPP University Law School. Jonny has over 30 years of experience in the legal field. He started as a practicing solicitor and is now a senior leader in legal education. He is particularly known for his outreach work supporting aspiring lawyers and promoting diversity within the legal profession. Please welcome Mr. Jonny Hurst from BPP University.
Thank you so much indeed for that welcome. Can I just check you can see my slides? Are you able to see my slides?
Jonny can, yes.
Thanks, perfect, that's great. Thank you so much. Well, welcome everybody. I'm Jonny Hurst. I am a practitioner for over 30 years experience now, but I've been in legal education for half of that time. And I'm delighted to be presenting you to tell you about BPP's offering for barrister training courses. So the courses to qualify at the English and Welsh Bar. So let me just give you a little bit of background about BPP. You may not be aware of who BPP is, but we're well known. We are a global legal education school, but we're part of a global university network. So we're a global education provider, particularly well known for the professional space, so qualifying as solicitors, accountants, in management and in tech. So very much a modern university focusing on professional skills and professional qualifications. And we're over 30 years established as a law school, training barristers to qualify at the English bar, as well as training solicitors as well. We train every year more students for the English bar than any other provider. So we're the most popular provider of bar courses in England and Wales. And there's a good reason for that. And obviously it will be shown in the slides I'm going to show you in the next few minutes. But we're very proud of that reputation that we're so popular. And in particular, we're very popular with Malaysian students. Why? Well, I think it'll be clear that we're based all over the UK. We're not just based in one city, so you can choose which particular centre, which city you want to be based in, and there could be all sorts of reasons why you prefer one city rather than the other, so we give you that choice. So that's one of the reasons why I think we're so popular with Malaysian students, and not least because they do fantastically well with us as well, and either go back to Malaysia or stay in the UK and get a job in the legal profession here. So lots of opportunities once they leave us. Just by way of background, in terms of to give you the quality of the law school that we are known to be exclusively training the future trainees of 4 of the 5 elite Magic Circle firms in England and Wales. These are the top, or regarded to be the top firms, where we train exclusively the trainees for 4 of them. And there's a good reason for that, that our law school has a reputation that is really second to none, we would say, certainly. Now, in terms of your options to study for the bar at BPP, as I mentioned, you can study in a number of different cities. London's our most popular city for obvious reasons. We've got the Inns of Court all in London, and I'm actually in our Holborn office in central London at the moment delivering this session, and it's right next door to Gray's Inn Court, just over the road from Lincoln's Inn, and a 5-minute walk from Inner and Middle Temple. So we are right in the heart of the legal district in London. But we've got great centres all over the country in Manchester, Leeds, Birmingham and Bristol. Manchester has historically been particularly popular for Malaysian students. There's a very good, strong Malaysian community in Manchester. And this year, I'm really pleased to see that we got a very large intake in our Leeds Law School, not least because me and my colleagues are visiting regularly in Malaysia, meeting students. And we got a lot of students who met our head of law in Leeds when he visited recently. I'm very impressed by him, and as a consequence, decided to study at his law school. So we got a huge range there for you to choose from, and I'll give you a bit more detail about some of the pros and cons maybe of some of the areas, and just to show our fantastic connections with law firms. And many of these law firms will be practicing in Malaysia, and also just over the border in Singapore as well. And I know, because it's a fact, that many Malaysian qualified lawyers who do the bar with us go back to Malaysia and then work for local law firms in Malaysia, or hop over the border to Singapore and work in many of these firms. All firms you can see on the screen work with BP for training their future lawyers. So you're in good company if that's your sort of career direction once you qualify. Now, as I mentioned, we've got loads of different locations. One of the benefits of coming to the London Law School, where I'm actually presenting from at the moment, is that we are, as I said, within walking distance of the 4 Inns of Court. We're literally round the corner from the High Court and the Old Bailey, just a short court to the Central Criminal Court, which is the Old Bailey, and also the High Court as well, which is just over the road from Inner and Middle Temple. So right round the corner from where everything at the cutting edge is going on in terms of the legal profession. We're a short walk from Oxford Street, the West End, so great shopping, great theatre and arts access in central London. And central London is fantastically served by public transport. I don't really need a car. I have one because I can afford one, and occasionally, my mother lives quite a long way away, but otherwise I don't use one at all during the week because we're so fantastically served by public transport. So wherever you live, it's normally quite quick to commute in under the underground network in London, or buses, which are very reasonably priced. What else can we tell you? Well, BPP Manchester, which I say is probably the second favourite historically for Malaysian students. It's set right in the heart of Manchester, right next door to one of the main theatres in Manchester, but it is right in the heart of Manchester. It's situated in a really classical the St James's building, a really really interesting building from a historical perspective. And 5 minutes from the main shopping centre as well. Really well served, Manchester, of course, by public transport. It's got a fantastic tram system as well as bus system, and 2 main line stations as well that can network around the country if you want to see friends or visit other cities within the UK. And as I say, we've got the other centres for our bar programmes, Bristol, Birmingham and Leeds. Leeds particularly has got very popular in recent years. I am from Birmingham by birth, and I visit the Birmingham Law School regularly and speak to the students there, who seem to be having a fantastic time. The head of law in Birmingham is a qualified barrister, and also the head of law in Leeds is a qualified barrister as well for the whole of the law school. The other law schools are headed by solicitors, but you'll be taught by practicing barristers and solicitors throughout your course. So what else can I tell you? Well, let's talk a little bit about, if I can do, to move the slides on, a bit more about why you should maybe consider coming to BPP. And I'll just give you the headlines at the moment. We've got great connections with the profession, as I've mentioned. We've got a really fantastic, dedicated law careers team, because, of course, getting your qualification is part of the way to success. Success isn't success until you've got a job, and we will help you with your applications. We're skilled in applications for not just obviously in the UK sector, but also in Malaysia and Singapore and elsewhere as well in the APAC region, if you wish to qualify elsewhere and practice elsewhere. We've got an award-winning pro bono centre. I'll talk about that in a moment, which helps you get work experience effectively whilst you're with us. We offer something called a career guarantee that I'll mention. We give a free bridge program, which is a way for you to bridge your gap between your undergraduate study of the law before you start your course with us at BPP, your bar course, that bridges that gap from your law degree to the start of your bar course. And we've got a huge pot of scholarships, over 1.4 million just for our postgraduate students that we award in scholarships. And they range from anything from smaller awards up to 3,000 and loads of half fee and full fee awards. And every year we have many Malaysian students who are successful in our scholarship program. So delighted to say that you need to be able to apply. Very much like Emma said in the previous presentation, if you don't apply, somebody else will get the scholarship. Please do apply every year. Students from Malaysia in large numbers do get scholarships, because we award hundreds of scholarships every year because our pot is so large. And that's because, it's one of the advantages of being the largest provider is that we have the revenue from the courses that we get to be able to help and support many students. So just give you a bit more information in terms of the course. But before I do, can you see everything that you see on the screen? It's all about employability in order to get you that job at the end. It's not just about a course. We believe in very much a holistic view to your future, your career and your education. It should all be joined up so that ultimately you get a job after you finish with us. Can't guarantee it, but we'll give you the best possible chance you can with all our support. We've got a dedicated Your Careers team there, and you recognise the picture of Kay on the bottom there, because they are experts in helping get people shape applications, not just in the UK, but overseas as well. And they'll scrub up your CV, they'll give you practice interviews, they'll help you find many people in the UK if you want to get some experience, as well as publish applications if you wish to stay on in the UK, or they will help you with regard to applications in your home country. And we run a number of law fairs where you can meet people from the profession very regularly. We have lots of speakers coming in to talk about their practice areas, and you really will get that connection whichever centre you go to with the profession, because obviously the number of students we have attracts some really good speakers. Our social impact team, where you can get some some work experience whilst you're with us, is it's a pro bono centre we run, but it's effectively like running a law practice within the law school. We work with real life clients across a whole range of practice areas, and these are really good ways to get yourself experience with real life clients that can demonstrate in future job applications that you've had client contacts, that you've been able to run meetings, that you've been able to report, and in some cases that you've represented them in tribunals and things like that, because ultimately if you stay on long enough you might be able to see a case through to a tribunal, or at least support an advocate in a tribunal application, say in the employment tribunal. So lots of ways to support our students outside the actual course itself. Before we talk about the course though, let me just tell you that we have what's called the Bar Advisory Board. Now these are the people that actually help and shape our course, because although we are all practitioners, mostly qualified barristers with a few qualified solicitors who design the course, it would be wrong if we were just doing it in a vacuum. And therefore what we do is we consult with a number of KCs, as you can see here, who help to shape our course and oversee the development of our course and its design. And it's an ongoing process. It doesn't just stop at when the course was designed. We regularly review the content, getting feedback and get support from top people in the profession to feedback in terms of how things need to be slightly tweaked to fit practice as it evolves. So yeah, you've got rest assurance, that quality assurance that top people in the profession are working alongside us to shape your course of the future. What else can I tell you? Right, moving on. Support for international students, just before we talk about our programs, huge amount of support we give our students. We've got a dedicated team to support you. I know what it's like because I visit KL regularly. I speak to students, and it's a big thing to come over to the UK. Some of you might be in the UK already doing a 2+1 degree. Others of you will be coming over to the UK for the first time, perhaps for your bar course. Whichever, it's quite a daunting process to start a new course at a new university, particularly if you haven't studied for very long or at all in the UK. So we understand that. So we've got a dedicated team of people to support international students. We've got a student experience team that always wanted to check in with you guys. And there's a head of law at each centre that will be particularly interested in your development and your progress. And obviously you can make contact with them at any time if you have any concern. You'll also be allocated a personal tutor who's professionally qualified, who will help and support you on the way. Really important that, because to create a one-to-one relationship with one of your tutors is something that's really quite special, I think, and you can create that really good rapport with that one individual and who can support you with your needs, and obviously you can confide in them with any difficulties or challenges that you might have, because living away from home, let's face it, sometimes does bring that. We've got in-centre support as well. So we've got a dedicated student advice centre in London. It's literally the next room to where I am currently at the moment. It's a beautifully furnished suite with about 8 or 10 advisors at any one time. You can just go in there and get some advice if there's a technical issue, with any support you need with your IT support, with your access to all our materials, that sort of thing, amongst other things. You get access to your subject tutors by email, one-to-ones you can have with them. Very often I'll have a chat with a student who's struggling in a particular area, if they are struggling, and yeah, it gives them a lot of reassurance in that regard. Okay, this is our barrister training course. So this is our flagship course that BPP runs, and every barrister course is slightly different, named by different universities. As at BPP, the flagship course is the barrister training course. I want to show you the sort of timeline of what it looks like. And basically, you can study this as a master's program or as a diploma. A diploma would typically take you 8 or 9 months. A master's program would take you 11, just under 12 months to complete. So let me show you what that looks like. So the first term, each of the circles you see represent a term of around about 10 to 12 weeks. And in the first term, you'll see that you will study litigation, civil litigation, evidence, submission advocacy, and drafting. Because in that first term, we will be preparing you solely for the Bar Standards Board centralised exams that you heard about earlier. So these are the really challenging external exams you need to pass, one of which we prepare for you in term 1. Now, there are other providers that will put all of the really intense challenging centralized exams and preparation for them all in one term. We separate them, and that's quite significant in terms of what BPP does, because students told us we'd rather have the pressure diluted between 2 terms rather than having it all in one term to do these really stressful exams. So you'll do the focus on civil in the first term, and in the second term, after you've sat your centralized exam, if you start in September, you sit the centralized exam, end of November, beginning of December, around then, and then you come back in the new year. What you'll then move on to do is to prepare yourself for the criminal centralized exams. And obviously you sit BPP exams as well in the various skills that you can see we've mentioned there. So you do various oral skills in term 2, legal research, cross-examination, examination in chief, professional ethics, legal writing, opinion writing, that sort of thing. Now, what you can see, and I just want to emphasize that you have a number of BPP exams as well as the centralized exams. But the key thing, pursuant to student feedback, we separated out the centralized exams, criminal and civil, in separate terms, and it dilutes the stress. It also has significantly improved our student pass rates, which I'll show you in a moment, which we're very proud of course. For this program, you need a minimum of a 2-1 to get onto the program, because it's quite intense from day 1. And it's really for anybody who's got a 2-1 or better. Now, you could stop your course here after around about 8 months. So you start in September, finish around about April, or if you start in January, you finish around about September. However, if you want to wrap it up into a master's program, then you can take on board some additional work, which would be a professional project you would do in the final term. And for the master's degree, we'll give you a list of projects to choose from, and they're very wide ranging across multiple practice areas. I'm sure you'd find one that would be aligned to the sort of area of law that you wish to practice. And that's a really useful professional asset to show to future employers. Some of our students have had their projects published, which again is very helpful. But of course, if you've done that area and that deep, intense dive into a particular specialist practice area, it will show a future employer that you've got an interest that is aligned to their practice areas, and will help a little, not necessarily get you the job, but certainly help to convince them that you are a very a convincing candidate as far as they're concerned. So there we are. That's sort of an overview in terms of the journey across our course. Now, to qualify in England and Wales, as I'm sure you know, if you want to stay on it and qualify, you get called to the bar once you've completed and passed both the centralised set exams and our course. But to be a fully fledged practicing barrister, you will need to complete a year worth of pupillage. But of course, you can go back to Malaysia and start practicing, as we know, should you wish to do so. Now, I said a moment ago, our pass rates have been fantastic since we've changed the emphasis of how we separate out the assessments. Just to show you that our September 2024 cohort, so this is the last academic year, the main cohort who did our barrister training course, 87% of them passed the really challenging centralised BTC assessments, and 76% was the pass rate for criminal litigation. Really high pass rates when you compare that to how everyone else is doing, and also the national pass rate. And this is the program that the vast majority of Malaysian students that I'm aware of that we teach will choose, but it's not the only program we run. And if you're a 2-1 candidate, it's certainly one that I would recommend that you choose, because you can see the pass rates speak for themselves. We do, though, offer another program, and this is why BPP is so popular, I think. We're a massively inclusive university. You've seen my credentials if you've read my bio. You know, I'm all about diversity and giving opportunity to people. And sometimes people don't get their 2-1 for all sorts of reasons. And it might be that they're not, it's nothing to do with their academic record. It's just something happened in their life that meant that they underperformed in their degree, or whatever it was. That shouldn't stop you wanting to become a barrister if you feel you've got the potential, and you need to have honest conversations with those guiding you. This is an option for you if you've got a 2-2. It's also an option for you if you've got a 2-1, because it is attractive to a lot of people, particularly international students, even with a 2-1 or a first. So let me explain what this alternative barrister training course is. It's the BTC Professional Legal Studies. Now, what we do is we have a foundational first term. So terms 2 and 3 look very much like the first 2 terms of the barrister training course I just showed you. But this one, what you've got is effectively a foundation term where we introduce you to dispute resolution and criminal law and practice, and foundations for the skills you need on the bar course. So you don't have any of that stress of the external exams before Christmas if you join in September, or in the first term if you join with us in the coming January. So that's a really positive advantage. And then you do our internal BPP assessments, much less stress, and then you move on to the same assessments that we just showed you for our flagship BTC. And you could stop there and just end up with a diploma, or you could wrap up your program as a master's by taking on board a project during that time as well, and writing a practice-based project. So that's got a lower word count, but ultimately you'll end up with a very similar piece, albeit a shorter piece than you would do under the other program. Now, there's no prestige either way in terms of which program you do. It's about the one that suits you best. Some international students prefer the BTC Professional Legal Studies because that foundational first term really gives you that opportunity to just get your feet under the table without too much pressure. Just get used to studying here, and the real action starts after the first term. So if you start in September, after Christmas. So yeah, a much softer landing, we would say. Okay, admissions criteria, as we said already, it's a 2-1 for the BTC or a 2-2 for the BTC with Professional Legal Studies. And as for all bar courses, you need to be a member of one of the Inns of Court and be proficient in the English language. And there's particular ways that students can demonstrate that they are 7.5 IELTS. This is a requirement anyway for bar courses. So we would have to, like all providers, establish that you are at that level. Now, in terms of our options, and as we've said before, there are loads of different options. I'm sure we'll be able to share the slides with you later on, but you can see we have admissions points in January, May and September. You won't be eligible for the part-time course, but just focus on the full-time ones there. And we offer the various different courses at various different centres, and the cost of those courses will vary depending on which centre you go to. Not surprisingly, London is a little bit more expensive than everywhere else, but they are extremely good value given the fact that this is the course is chosen by these courses are chosen by more students than anyone else, so you're getting excellent value for money when you look at the prices depending on where you go and study. So finally, I just want to wrap up. Why would you come to BPP for a bar course? Well, first of all, that separation of the centralised assessments, I can't overstate that enough. That makes a massive difference to your outcomes and your chances of actually passing those centralized exams. And one thing I didn't mention, and what we have in common, I think, with what you heard earlier from one of the other providers, we don't separate out the knowledge and the skills. We teach you the knowledge and the skills together in the same term. So you might learn in a classroom the process for a summary judgment application. It's a way to get a quick judgment without a trial. You might learn the theory about that in a classroom, but then you might be in an advocacy class within a few days on your feet doing that particular application, and that will really cement that hard knowledge right into your memory, into your long-term memory, which a lot of students say it really helps them revise effectively that knowledge by doing and performing those applications. Very small advocacy classes we have, and conference classes in small groups of 5 means that you can have confidence that you're not speaking in front of a big audience, to really develop those core skills. And we teach advocacy as a thread throughout our course, so you'll get that all the way through those 2 terms of the teach sheet. And finally, you'll get an option to draft and to opinion write in all sorts of different practice areas, so both common law and commercial law case studies. So we're not just leaving you exposure to the core subjects that are covered by the BTC. You'll get a little bit of exposure to commercial law and various common law scenarios as well. And our scholarships, we have some specific school scholarships, which I'll mention in a moment. So we've got different pathways, as I mentioned, to suit different students. So different international students will prefer different programs that we've got. That's why we've got them there. All our case studies are based on real life cases. You're taught almost always in a court classroom. So pretty much all our classrooms have like a judge's desk. They have the crest on the wall. They have the witness box, and they have the wood paneling you'd expect to see in a lot of traditional courts. So we teach you in the environment to feel comfortable. So when the real thing happens, it doesn't feel alien to you. I mentioned about the courses overseen and designed through the advisory board, but also we get a lot of feedback from our students as well. And we've got, as I mentioned, our award-winning pro bono and careers centres to support you on your journey. I mentioned our scholarships already. Please do apply. You've got to be in it to win it. Lots of full fee, lots of half fee, lots of scholarships, up to 3,000 partial scholarships as well. Many awarded to Malaysian candidates every year. So as I say, you've got to be in it to win it. If you don't apply, somebody else will get your scholarship for you. We have something called a career guarantee. So if you don't get your pupillage or the equivalent, a job in the profession within 6 months, we give you the opportunity to effectively start cross-qualifying as a solicitor in England and Wales, which could be quite useful, particularly if you're interested in hopping over the border to Singapore, or maybe staying on in the UK and practicing here. Or we could offer you a suite of skills courses to improve your employability, so negotiation, influencing skills, practical networking, and handling difficult conversations, which you'll be surprised how helpful that is once you go into practice. And finally, that we have a specialist advocacy scholarship here. This is one where we ask you to complete a plea in mitigation. You probably know what one of those is, where your client's convicted of a crime and you're asking the court to be as lenient as possible with the sentencing. So we give you a crash course test or crash course on that, and then you go ahead and record the first 5 minutes of your plea in mitigation. And there's fantastic opportunities, as well as getting a discount on your fees through the scholarship, an opportunity to represent BPP at external prestigious moots and get a lot of training, and also to stand for our society. There's exclusively an officer place within the society that's awarded to one of our advocacy scholars. So lots of reasons to come, not just for the scholarship, but to some of the benefits of the scholarship as well. You might want to scan the QR code there. We've got virtual open evenings happening every term. You scan that there to find out our open evenings, but also our bar specific events going on as well. So you can see that coming up very soon, how to land a pupillage. You could register on that. Unfortunately, they're helpful for UK candidates. That's quite late for you guys, but it might be that you might just record that whilst it's going on, and then watch the recording in the morning, should you wish to do so. And that really is it, folks. I've rattled through my slides there because I think we were trying to catch up some of the time from earlier. I'm be delighted to answer any of your questions that you may have. Do we have anything in the chat there, Maggie? Let's have a
Jonny,
look.
let me see. Okay, this one of the students was asking, like, can the online PDVL be done from Malaysia?
Can what? So the online
Online
PGDL?
PDVL.
Yes. So the PGDL is the graduate conversion course. So if you don't have a UK English degree, you certainly need to do a conversion course. Yes, you can do the PGDL, the law conversion course from Malaysia online, absolutely. And we do run classes that are sympathetic to the APAC time zone, so you won't have to get up in the middle of the night. Anything else, folks? appreciate it's a bit of an information overload, and you're hearing from a lot of people, a lot of courses. And I would just say, I would agree with the first speaker, think about the 3 universities that you think, having heard from them, those are the ones I really want to have a look at, and then work out what your most important factors are. And sometimes it will be a location, sometimes it will be pass rate, sometimes it will be that you just felt a gut reaction that you do better there. Whatever it is, yeah, just work out what your priorities are, and certainly interact with myself and our team. Maggie, I'm sure we'll leave contact details in the chat for anybody who's got further questions in relation to our courses. Any further questions before we hand over? Oh, can the LLM I choose do a dissertation to be done in Malaysia? I think it will depend on the terms of your visa. I mean, strictly speaking, I mean, what's the official answer to that, Maggie?
Okay. Basically, if you do, when you apply, you should apply if you want to do the LLM together, so that you will be your visa's period that you'll be getting is a full 12 months plus a 4 months extra. But if you apply for a normal BTC course, your visa would be only in 9 months, and they will only give you like about 2 months extra. So basically, it's like a 12 months visa validity only. So we don't encourage students like to do such where you want to do your dissertation in Malaysia, because we will have like the tutor that will be meeting you face to face before you submit your dissertation. So we will want you to continue to stay in the UK until you submit your project. Then only you end the course and return to Malaysia.
We've become a lot more proactive than many universities when people write dissertations, and actually having classes in relation to the dissertation to support you, rather than just general supervision touch points from a supervisor. Yeah. And again, that's improved the outcomes, the quality of the submissions from the students, and it's also meant that people have stayed on track. And we could, because sometimes a supervision on a master's project, when you just get on with it, can be quite daunting. So having lots more regular touch points by having classes with tutors in the UK is the way to get through the project. And that's why we don't think really you should be doing it in Malaysia. I think that's it. I think we've had our time. Thank you so much to the team from PDVL for allowing us to present to you.
Insightful sharing. Thank you to our distinguished speakers for their insightful presentation and for sharing their valuable perspective. So I'm MT. For the coming sessions panel student, I'm the moderator. So a bit the background about me. My full name is May Team, but people call me MT. I'm the person in charge for PDVL Malaysia. So good evening and good morning to students currently in the UK, and welcome to the PDVL UK Bar Event Online Conference. And we are coming to the second part, which is the highlight for today. We are delighted to have all of you here to explore what it's really like to study bar in the UK for students that are deciding and doing the LLB Year 2 or Year 3. And the panel student session is designed to give you a practical insights into the bar course, the ins of course, qualifying sessions, and practical tips to prepare for your journey. And today, we are pleased to have 3 students with us today. One of the students already graduated from the bar program, and the 2 are currently doing the bar program. Let's welcome first Mr. Chong Man Kyung. He is a bar graduate from Northumbria University. And our second panelist is Miss Hui Yi, is our current student, bar LLM student studying at the University of Law, Newcastle campus. And she is also the former student from the University of Reading, UK campus. And lastly, we have Miss Elise Oh. She is a current bar student at BPP Manchester campus. And she is a former student from University of Liverpool. And she also the Inner Temple Bar Scholarships Awards recipients. Let's welcome them to join us. Can I invite Hui Yi, Elise, and Man Kyung to turn on your camera? I would like to invite you guys. They're all in the UK at the moment.
Hi guys, can you hear me?
Yes. Hui Yi, you want to try test your mic, and Elise as well?
Hi everyone.
Hi. Okay. Yeah, I think works well. Thank you for all of you here being today to share about your experience and insights later to students they are considering and interested to do bar. I think it's really would be very informative and helpful for them to decide whether this is the program right to them, understand more about the bar programs as well. So let's begin for our first questions. Okay, right. What makes you decide to pursue the bar program, and how do you choose the bar school? So, Elise, would you want to go first?
Yeah, sure, I don't mind. So for me, I decided to pursue the bar course because obviously I want to practice as a lawyer, but in between like bar and CLP, why I went for the bar is because I don't have SPM and I don't have like a recognized like certificate in Malaysia that will allow me to take CLP. So I was honestly left with no choice but to do the bar. But I think the more important question maybe for me to answer would be how I chose my bar school. And I think for me, because I had a lot of seniors who did like a lot of bar schools across the UK, like ULaw, BPP, Northumbria, Cardiff. And I did talk to a lot of them because I was like really anxious because and I think it's a valid anxiety to have because a lot of people often tell you that the bar is really difficult, it's very important, blah, blah, blah. And the reason why I chose BPP, and I think you probably heard it from the presentation earlier, is because BPP is the only bar school that splits up the civil and criminal papers. And I think that really, really makes a very big difference because those two papers are like centralized examinations that are not set by your own school. And those examinations are papers that people fail the most. And according to my seniors, the structure of how BPP teaches the entire course, because as for right now, we are only doing civil for the first like 4 to 5 months. And then afterwards, after we finish our civil paper, then we'll start with criminal. So it really helps you to like compartmentalize your knowledge, and it really helps you to like ensure that you don't get confused. And I think that's the main reason why I chose BPP. Yeah.
Thank you, Elise, for sharing your path and also your journey. So next, can I invite Hui Yi to share about your why the decision came through, and then why you make your decisions to study at University of Law?
Yeah, basically when I first considered about bar, it was when I was contemplating if I actually want to like go back to Malaysia to do CLP. Then I basically just did like a brief comparison of like how CLP and bar actually is. And for bar, it has been very famous of like the course being very challenging and all. So I'll be very honest with you. The only thing that will cross my mind was just that, oh, if I actually have a bar course, if I go back, probably people would be like, oh yeah, you're good at advocacy or something like that. But that is no prejudice towards anyone who takes the LP. It's just that I'm not the type of person that I like to do more memorizing and regurgitating of all of the information that I'm learning. I am more of a hands-on person, which I think bar course is why it's different from CLP. You have more interactive sessions with your lecturer, and then they would normally test you on your skills and be like, oh, so what is the thing that you're supposed to talk to your client about? How are you supposed to phrase everything, rather than hearing from people who took CLP? It's just sitting in class, listening to your lecturers. Only once in a while you would interact, but it's not more about how you do with clients. And why I chose ULaw, it was because mainly I was considering to take the master course. And for ULaw itself, they have the 3 options that was introduced by Nigel, dissertation, optional module, and pro bono. So like I said, I'm more of a hands-on person, and they offered pro bono, to which you only need to do a reflective report. And if you are being graded on that, then you would get your master's qualification immediately. But that doesn't mean that the pro bono is something that you have to be like crammed on it throughout the whole year. It's something that you can do once in a while within your course. It's not like a clinic that you have to do every week. They have like a special system of how the pro bono works. So as long as you have taken any of the legal advice clinic that they offer, then you can just start writing your whole reflective report and everything and submit that. And you can fully focus on your reflective report after you have completed your bar course, which is by like May or June time. Then you have all the time until October for you to submit that. So that was why I actually chose ULaw, because they have like a much, I would say, easier option for pro bono and to get like the LLM qualification. Most importantly, cost factor as well. ULaw is considered cheapest among all of the universities that I've considered. That's why I've gone with ULaw.
Thank you, Hui Yi, for your sharing. And next, I would like to invite Mr. Chung Man Kyung, to share about your the decisions.
Okay, right. What would I say is I agree on the part where if you do the what call CLP, yes, CLP Malaysia, it's all just about study and all paper exam and etc. That's the reason why I chose the bar, because you have more hands-on experience, you can practice advocacy, and make it feel like you're actually like a lawyer instead of just study. And then, okay, so fun fact about me is that why I choose to study bar, because when I was younger, I already know that I want to be a lawyer. And it's not just a lawyer, I want to be a barrister that speak in front of the court. So that's the reason why I choose to do bar instead of the SQE or LPC. I'm not sure you guys know about it, because in how it works in the UK is that there's two different systems. So if you study bar, you'll be advocates to present a client in the court. But if you choose SQE or LPC route, which means you qualify to be a solicitor, but you're not really doing the barrister work. Most likely you're just working in a law firm. Okay, so as the reason why I chose to study with Northumbria, and actually the decision was quite both practical and personal. I'm not going to say which provider is better. I didn't really compare many of them. But the reason was simply because Northumbria was more affordable than many of the providers like in London or other cities. It was around like 12,000 if I'm not mistaken during my year. And compared to the others, they are like nearly 20,000. It make a really big difference. And I think you've heard, which again, the person from Northumbria University, when she promoted, there's no additional fee if you opt for the bar course integrate with the LLM. So which means that you get two courses with just one fees, and you get both certificates. Okay, so and for the personal reasons, because I have experience living in the south of London, not London, England, where I study my degree with Hertfordshire. So, and I've decided I want to change a new environment and start in like, how should I put it that way? Like I already experienced the life in the south, so want to try in the north. That is why I chose to come study in Northumbria in Newcastle, the northern part of England. Yes, just that simple reason.
MT, can I add on to something that I missed out?
Yes, Elise, please go ahead.
Yeah, so sorry guys. So like as Hui and Man Kyung, right, was speaking, it just suddenly popped in my head. So another reason why like I made the decision I made to study in BPP Manchester is because BPP is one of the only bar schools that offer the PLS. So I'm not sure if you were paying attention to what Jonny was presenting earlier, but for PLS, I don't think it's necessary a choice that only 2 students should take. For example, I graduated for first class, but I made the decision to do PLS, and I'm telling you, it is the best decision of my life, because I think for most of us, we finished like our degree in like early May or something this year, and it's been a really long break. And if you're thinking of like or if you're going to finish your degree next year, that means you would finish around May, June, and then you would have a really long break before you start the bar again. And when your seniors and when your agents tell you that the bar is very, very different from your degree, trust them, it is very, very different. Like nothing will prepare you for how like intense it is, unless you're probably from like a Malaysian education system. Like when you're doing SPM, it's like that intense, or like if you did IB, like it's really that intense. So I think PLS was really a very good foundation, or like a very good ease in point for me. Like it really helped me ease into living in Manchester, and like settling my life here, figuring things out, and like starting a routine. Because PLS essentially, like I told you, the 2 main papers for civil and criminal, PLS basically like gives you a breakdown in the 3 months, and it teaches you like the basics and the fundamentals. So when you officially enter into the bar next year, you will not like be overwhelmed, because then you will have things like drafting, you have things like advocacy. It's going to be a lot, right? So I think it's a really good decision, but bear in mind it does cost a little bit more. It's an extra £2,000. So if you don't have that kind of money, you don't have to do it. But if you have that money, I do really recommend it. And I just think it's really just the best decision ever, because I'm also doing my LLM. And one thing I like about the PLS is we finish our LLM during this PLS, so during these 3 months. So by January next year, I would have been done and dusted with my master's, and I can just fully focus on my bar course. And yeah, that's another reason that made me choose BPP. Yeah, that's all. Thank you.
Thank you. And I totally agree with what Man Kyung said just now. So there is no single bar school the best. So every seniors here, they make their decision. They chose the bar school right to them. So you need to consider about the location, the financial, whether there's any funding available to you, and also the cost structure, or everything comes up. You need to consider it as a package. So that is good that at this point of the year, if you are doing year 3 right now, you can start to think about the any factors, any matters to you, so you can make the right decision. Not wait until approaching the end of your year 3, you only decide which bar school to go. So that would be a very rush decisions. And I agree with this, and I in the bar application placement for many years, every student doing the bar, we do check with them, keep on tracking with their performance and make sure they are all right. Every student, trust me, even if you're first class, second class, everyone will tell you bar is not easy, very challenging, very overwhelmed, and you can trust my words and trust every senior's words. Okay, let's go on with the second questions. Okay, I would like to have this question to Elise and also Hui Yi. Maybe Hui Yi, you can go ahead to take this question, like to share about the day-to-day, how is the life as a bar course students?
Yeah, so for ULaw, it might seem like it's not a lot, that you will only have like classes on like 2 days, but it would be like 2 lessons in 1 day, and it runs full 2 hours. So it's not like how your normal lecture is, where you probably have like a 2-hour lecture and you have like 10 minutes in between for a breather. You do not have that 10 minutes breather. You run through full out 2 hours for each and every classes. So it would be like criminal litigation and criminal skills in 1 day, civil litigation and then civil skills in 1 day. And then there will be a lot of reading for you to do. Although you have the privilege of not going to uni every single day, but there's a lot of reading that you have to do. And I swear to God, it's not easy to finish all the pre-reading because the load is just massive, massive, and it's very heavy because it's all about the procedures that you need to remember when you are going on for the assessments later. So the most tiring part is just to do the prep work, because by covering whatever that you need to read for the classes itself, that is not all. That is only the examiner part. Then you have to cover the materials that they are going to discuss during the classes. Like they will have scenario questions, they would have like an MCQ type of question where you have to go through it just so that you make sure you understand, and then you discuss in the classes with your lecturer, and then to talk about like, oh, why this is not the correct answer. So it's actually a good thing that they would go through the answers together with you for some of it, because they want you to understand why the answers are correct or why they're wrong and where you can find them. So yeah, I think that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Hui Yi. Next, Elise, what about your day-to-day life so far?
Yeah, so like for me, like I mentioned, since I'm still doing my PLS and masters only right now, so this is just my schedule up till December. So I'm not really sure like how the official bar will be for me next year, but I think you can just take Hui's words, like it's probably even more intense. But as for me right now, it's we have 2 classes a week, and each class runs for about 2 hours. But the structure of it, essentially, for those of you who maybe have never heard about how like a bar course works, is essentially we don't have lectures, we only have workshops. So think of it as before the workshop, you have a whole bunch of readings, a whole bunch of like content to cover by yourself. So essentially you are self-learning and digesting all the information by yourself. And then you have a practical task that you have to complete. And then the practical task will then be discussed in the workshop across the entirety of the 2 hours. And that is when you will learn how to apply whatever knowledge you've learned. So when Hui tells you that there's a lot of things you read, that's true, because you need to know the information. If not, when you go to class, you have no idea what they're talking about, because they expect you to learn everything, or at least digest everything yourself, and they'll be there to teach you how to apply it. So that's how the bar works. And I think that's why a lot of people say it's really hard, because a lot of times in degrees, we just tend to go to class and just like, like listen a bit and like, like they'll literally spoon feed you, but in here it's different. So that's why, although we only have 2 classes a week, but the rest of like, and I have 1 more class for masters, the rest of the 4 days a week is spent prepping for those classes. So it's like a non-stop cycle. That's why I have like a bullet journal where I like list down what I'm going to do every single day. If not, it's going to be really hard to keep up. But as long as you just make sure that you finish your prep work before each workshop every day, honestly, you'll be fine. Like, I know like we are saying that it's really hard, it's going to be really scary, blah, 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 but it's doable. It's not impossible. We just want to make sure that, like you don't go in there thinking that, oh, it's going to be a breeze, when you actually need to put in the work. But if you do, then you'll be fine. Yeah.
Yeah, totally
So
with you,
can I
Elise
just
and Hui.
add, MT,
Yeah,
let me just put it in like very simplified form for you. In your undergraduate studies, you could probably prepare your tutorial sessions within like 1 day or that morning. But for bar, you can never prepare in one day. You can never prepare that day morning because there's so many things that you have to go through for you to understand what each and every question is actually asking you about. And if you don't know anything, you'll be very much lost during the session and you just go, what did you just say? Sorry, I don't know. And it's kind of weird that you're asking around because everyone know where everything is and you're just the only one that's like kind of lost throughout the whole session.
That sounds very scary.
Also,
But
I'm
workable.
sorry, another thing is attendance is compulsory. I don't know for other bar providers, but for us it's compulsory. Like it's not like your degree where you can just skip class and watch the recording. Because like for us, classes are not recorded at all. So if you miss it, you miss it. Like that's it. So yeah.
Okay. That sounds very scary, but I hope to like giving a very good mental preparation and monitor student expectation for the bar program. So thank you. And the next question I would like to ask Man Kyung about because you already completed the bar program. So from your experience during the bar course, how did you juggle and balance your study time, preparation for advocacy, and as well you need to have your own personal life as well. So how do you balance it?
Well, okay, I gotta be honest with you. The bar course is extremely demanding. So, before that, I think I want to point out one thing where Elise mentioned that yeah, you're right on some provider that actually there's no lecturer class and it's only as workshop, so you will expect to show up with prepare. So I would say that one thing about Northumbria University is we actually have a lecturer class before the workshop, but it means that you have like double the class other than just the workshop. So you have more class in a week, and then not just that, you also require you at least 40 hours of self-study on top of the scheduled class. Because see, especially I would emphasize on the advocacy sections where I say it's the most intense. Because like what Miss Emma mentioned just now, the person from Northumbria University, that the bar course was meant to train you as a professional since day one. So you were expected to arrive in handy. And if you're not, you got asked to leave the class. So this may sound harsh, but it reflects the real life at the bar. Because imagine if you walk into the courtroom unprepared, the judge would not tolerate it either. So how I do is that balancing the study and personal life was, I would say, it's very difficult because the course itself already consumed most of your time. So how I did it was, I would say the key was discipline. So I prepared for every classes. I wrote pages and pages of notes, highlighted the entire textbooks in different colors, and also a lot of sticky notes on top of it. So that I would say that level of organization that how kept me on top of the workload. But with that said, you still need personal life, of course. So because otherwise you'll be burnt out. So and I believe everyone has their own way of switching it off. And for me, because I'm more of the sporty person, so what I did was I go for climbing and badminton, taking a few hours of exercise that could help me to blow some steam off and reset my mind so that I could return to my studies with more focus.
Thank you, Man Kyung. Yeah, I would have the later questions about the ins of courts. So for all your information, so part of your program, you also need to fulfill the 10 qualifying sessions to take part for the ins of courts QS. So a lot of students have many unsure and not sure which ins of court to choose. And for those already participated for any QS session, would you want to share? So can I have Elise Hui and Man Kyung to share with us which ins you belong to? And if you already have a QS sessions participated, would you want to share with students? Maybe Man Kyung go ahead first.
Well, for me, I actually joined in a temper.
Oh.
And to be very honest with you guys, my choice to join in a temper was based more on like practically and personal fit rather than the prestige. Because I know many of my Malaysian friends, they tend to choose that join me the temper. And the things about me is that I don't want to do the same thing that everybody does. So I took a different path and joined in the temper instead. But still, one factor that influenced me was that the flexibility of joining the inner temper because they offer when they're offering the qualifying sections. For example, if I'm not mistaken, media temper that requires at least 6 of the 10 sections to be complete in person for the qualifying sections because you need to have 10 before you call to the bar, and 6 out of 10 sections you have to complete in person. So whereas inner tempers, that you can attend all of them online if necessary, which means you don't have to attend a single event in person. frankly speaking, because I studied Northumbria at the northern part of the England, so it's not very cheap and wise to go down to London by train every time to attend just for that section. Sometimes just one day and you have to go back and forth. And it's like 3 hours per trip. So like half a day just stay in the train. And the price is not cheap for the train in here. It could easily cost more than £100. So what happened to my classmate who from Middle Temple, they have to go for the cheaper option by taking bus, and it's like 6 to 8 hours for the trip, and usually like go by midnight just to save the money. So that's why I would say I'm kind of glad that I joined Inner Temple because it saved me from the hassle going through all this, and I'm able to balance my time to study and also meeting the requirements. But don't get me wrong, I would still encourage you guys to attend some sections in person if you want to, because even I did join a few sections in person that suit my time and preference. And these events, I would say, is very, very good experience because you get to meet the practicing barristers, judges, asking the advice from them and feedbacks, and also networking with other students who are doing the bar course MSU from different universities. It is a very essential skills for barrister to networking. So, but don't join the Inner Temple because of what I said just now. All 4 inns have their unique, beautiful settings and long traditions. All 4 inns are equal professionally. So I would say choose the one that you feel is right for you, whether that's based on scholarship, support, or simply where you feel most at home.
Thank you, Man Kyung. And next, can I have Wei Yi?
I'm currently part of Middle Temple. Before that, I did consider about Lincoln's Inn, and I will be very honest with you. It's just because that I know some of the experienced lawyers in Malaysia. When they practice, they're part of Lincoln's Inn. So I thought, oh, why not associate myself with an inn with so many talented lawyers? But then when I consider like a lot of different factors, like the application process, what do they offer, and like cost factor wise, and then how much you need to pay for like attending qualifying sessions and everything. I just thought like Middle Temple would be the best. Like what Man Kyung said, yes, it is true that Middle Temple has the most Malaysians out of the 4 inns. That's not really a bad thing. You will get to meet a lot of wonderful Malaysians that have a lot of legal experiences there. But also like I attended the open day that they had, and it was an online session. And the most attractive factor from the Middle Temple was that one of the speaker that was introducing Middle Temple was saying that they do admit that within the legal field itself, it's actually very difficult for internationals to be part of. And that was something that Middle Temple was trying to like strike a balance in between of diversity and how they could invite more internationals coming over to join Middle Temple. That's why by the time when I first went to like qualifying sessions, you would meet a lot of different like legal professionals from different countries. You have people from Mauritius, you have people from India, you have people from like Middle Eastern country, or like you will have people from Spain or whatnot. For some reason, they just decided to come to the UK and have that experience and be part of Middle Temple. So it was actually a really good thing to be able to like connect with people from different places. So the thought of a lot of Malaysians might be very off-putting because it's probably not something that everyone wants to, especially when you come to the UK. But I don't think that's like a bad factor because you get to learn a whole lot more from other Malaysians as well, where probably some of them would have a lot of internship experiences. So yeah. Also what I remember is that Middle Temple they won the mooting when it was the mooting competition between all 4 inns. So Middle Temple was the champion out of it. So if that might be a attractive factor to you, then maybe that is something why you want to consider Middle Temple. Yeah.
I learned from many Malaysian students that they apply to become the member to Middle Temple because they offer free qualifying sessions and also offer the allowance. So I'm not sure whether this is true.
For several qualifying sessions, I think it's mostly about the introductory sessions, like by the time when you have like the start of the bar course period, then they will have a few free sessions. After that, even if it's online or if you attend in person, you will have to pay like about £12. I heard they have changed that policy. Back then, it was actually free for people, especially for outside London students. but now they have also incurred fees for outside London students, even if you have to attend either physical or online sessions as well. In terms of sorry, did you say loan? It wasn't loan, it was what?
Allowance. So
Allowance,
it's
yeah,
like
sorry.
offer
The
transport.
allowance,
Yeah.
that is for the advocacy weekend. So there are some of the advocacy weekend, they will provide you the allowance, but they will only cover if you come all the way down to London and travel together with them from London to somewhere else. So you still have to bear the traveling fee from, like, let's say I'm from Newcastle, I still have to bear my own traveling fee from Newcastle all the way down to London, then to where they are having their advocacy weekends.
Yeah. That explains.
Right.
Thank you.
Sorry,
Thank you,
don't
Wei.
mind me
Yeah,
to
thank you.
answer beyond that.
Michael.
I believe both in have heavily subsidized the qualifying sections. So it might still sound expensive. Like if you join the section, you sometimes have to pay £7 or £12 on that. But I believe it's really heavily subsidized, sponsored by the INS. That's why it costs just 12. And I'm not sure how Middle Temple work. For Inner Temple, we have like 4 different bands for the sections, like from band 1 to band 4. So band 1 is free and band 4 is the most expensive, like advocacy week. It like costs £70 for that. And yeah, so you don't often get band 4 section that many. Mostly just 1 or 2. So it's considered cheap already for attending a section. And as for the allowance, they have it in Inner Temple as well. And it depends on which region you're coming from. So let's say if you are traveling from Manchester, maybe you could claim the allowance for the travel expenses like £100. And my case, from Newcastle, I could claim £170 just for that, for information. So that's why I say, like, each temples have their own way of subsidizing the people who join the sections, and the allowance for Inner Temple, I would say, is quite good. Of course, you have a limit on that. You can't claim for all the sections. There's like only limit up to 3 applications for that. But I would say it's very good already.
At least in some way subsidize for students' travel expenses. Right. Can I invite Elise lastly?
Yeah, so I am part of the Inner Temple as well. And the reason why I joined Inner Temple was because they offered me a pretty big scholarship. So how it works is, I think it's about approaching the period of time where the scholarships are already open, if I'm not wrong, and the deadline is in November. So I really highly urge all of you to apply. But the thing about applying for scholarships is you only get to apply to one IN, so you can't apply for all 4. And I already had to make my decision then which IN I wanted to apply to. So how I chose Inner Temple was essentially what I did was I went to each IN's website. I pulled up their statistics because every year they'll come up with statistics as to how many people applied, how many scholarships were granted. For the past 3 to 4 years, for each IN, it's published. So what I did was I did the math for all of it. I calculated the probability of like how likely it is and how high the percentage of me getting a scholarship from each of the IN. And Inner and Middle were almost about the same, but Inner was higher. And the second reason why I then proceeded with Inner is because at that point in time, only Inner Temple and Middle Temple offered interviews for every single applicant that applied for the scholarship. But I know that they've changed the policy this year because I was helping some of my juniors with their in scholarship application. I found out that starting from this year, I'm not sure about Middle, but for Inner, they no longer offer interviews for all of the applicants. So there'll be double screenings, the first screening, and then they will only offer interviews for the people who go through the first screening, like all the other INs. But the reason back then was because I just felt like, although I was quite confident with my paper submission, but I do think that like advocacy and interview is something that I am very confident myself in. That's why I think it would give me a higher chance to get the scholarship if I was guaranteed an interview. So that is why I went ahead with Inner Temple. And obviously once they give you the scholarship, and if you want to accept the scholarship, you have to join their IN. So that's why I joined Inner Temple. But honestly, if I had the option and I did not get the scholarship from Inner Temple, I personally would have joined a Middle Temple for the sole reason that, number one, Middle Temple is much more aesthetically pleasing. So Middle Temple has a very archaic feel. Like if you go to their dinners and you see the pictures online, it literally looks like Hogwarts. But for Inner Temple, on the other hand, it boasts a more modern look because like the entire inn is refurbished. So it's more modern. Secondly, for Inner Temple, we don't have free dinners. So all of our dinners are not calculated towards your qualifying sessions. But for Middle Temple, it is, because in Manchester, I think like Jonny mentioned, there are over 30 to 40 Malaysians, and I would say almost 30 to 40 of them are from Middle Temple. Like all my friends, my housemates are all Middle Temple. So whenever they go down to London and they have like their dinners, they get to network with other Malaysians. And like what Hui said, I think it's not a bad thing at all to be surrounded by Malaysians, because if your end goal is to go back to Malaysia, this is your network that you're building right here. And in Middle Temple, where they have free flow alcohol and like 3-course dinners, and you just sit in close proximity and you just yap. That's where you build your connections. And the best thing about that, I do think, is because their dinners count towards their qualifying sessions. So you get to technically get your points and, like what MT mentioned, fulfill the points that are required for you to be called to the bar, at the same time join a dinner and network. But for Inner Temple, all the dinners do not have points to them. So if you want to attend a dinner, you can, but you don't get anything out of it other than networking. Yeah. But to clarify on the allowance thing, yes, Inner Temple does grant subsidies. We have 2 types, in fact. The first is, they call it a qualifying session grant, and the second is called a qualifying session travel subsidy. So how Inner Temple works is, before September starts, where all the qualifying sessions start to begin, they will release like a timetable of all the sessions that will be happening from September all the way until next year, September. But what they do is they will only allow you to book 3 months at a time. So, but for Middle Temple, it's different. For Middle Temple, they will allow you to book ahead all of your events until next year. So you can literally plan out your entire travel journey and whatnot. But for Inner, you do it 3 months at a time. So as for now, I have my qualifying sessions booked until December. But for the rest that I want to do next year, I can only book the moment the date opens. And that's really important. Always check your emails, because it's a first come, first serve basis. So what happens is, every 3 months, once you've booked your qualifying sessions, you can then apply for the QS grant and the QS travel subsidy. And similarly to what Man Kyung said, they're pretty generous, I would say. Like for me, although I only went down London 1 time, and my train ticket was around, I think, £70 to and fro, but they gave me a grant of £185. So I have extra money to spend. And obviously, like, I had to pay for every session also, because online sessions for Inner Temple are all £10 plus, and in-person sessions are around £15. If there are special sessions that give you more points, like the advocacy weekends or whatnot, then it will cost more, and because they also give you more points. So yeah, for Inner Temple, we do have a lot of like subsidies like that. And I was speaking to other Malaysians as to why they joined Inner Temple as well. For me, I didn't have to pay any like admission fee or whatnot, because I had the scholarship, but they did mention that Inner Temple is the cheapest in terms of like admission fee or whatever. Like, you have to pay a fee when you want to register for the inn, right? Something like that. And it's the cheapest. And our sessions are pretty cheap, and they also do give a lot of grants in terms of like travel grants, like for you to cover your hotel and for your train when you go down to London. And like what Man Kyung said also, for Inner Temple, we do not have even until right now, they do not expect you to attend anything in person. So if you just want to just get it out of the way, you don't really want to network, and you don't really want to waste the money, go down London, you can do that. And I think for all the inns, this applies for all the inns. If you are in popular cities like Bristol or Manchester, they often have advocacy weekends, or like qualifying sessions in Manchester or in Bristol, because like these are pretty big cities as well. I'm not sure if they have it in Newcastle. I've never really seen it, but in Cardiff, they have it in Cardiff as well. So if you're from those areas, oh, do you? You don't?
No, I think it's too small for that.
Oh yeah, maybe. But like for main cities like Manchester, Bristol, and Cardiff, we do have qualifying sessions that are in our city as well, but they get sold out really fast, because obviously nobody wants to go down London if they don't have to, right? So yeah, those are things that you can consider. And another thing I think you can consider if you're really pressed on cost is when you're getting called to the bar. Because when you're getting called to the bar, when it comes to like because right now is the season of like people getting called to the bar. Like, I've attended a few of my seniors' callings. The prices for being called is like, it varies, especially when it comes to hiring your gown, your photography, and stuff like that. So from what I know so far, Lincoln's is the most expensive. It's £100+ to like just graduate. And in terms of like the ropes and whatnot, like they cost differently as well. Like some of them you have to buy, some inns make you rent, some inns make you buy it. The photography packages that they give are different. So these are always like the small little costs that you can inquire yourself if you are really pressed about cost, because I do think that a lot of people may think of inns as something that's extra, it's not it's definitely an extra cost. So do take that into account, your admission fee, like, when you get called, like how much will it cost, how much is it to like go down, how much is it per qualifying session, is it compulsory to go down to London? I think these are factors that you can list down and ask around your seniors, or ask around people who are from different inns, take that into consideration as when you decide which inn to join. Yeah.
Thank you, Elise, for sharing very informative insights on the INS. So yeah, I do agree. Many students tell me if they going to QS sessions, they trying to make friends with students, the other students from different bar school, so they can exchange the practice papers or the past year papers, so that they can get more practice. So thank you. So I move on to, because we are fairly behind the schedule, so we're just quickly going through this. So many students here, they are currently in year 3, or some of them are year 2 students. If you can suggest one skills that they can develop early back in their law degree, what would you suggest to students? Who would like to go first? Mankyong?
Right. I'll say, okay, I'll say together, right? I think the most important skills to develop will be like advocacy and legal writing. So if you want to be a barrister, of course. So no doubt that advocacy is the heart of what barrister does. So it's not just about speaking confidently. It's about being clear, logical, and persuasive under pressure, and being able to lead your audience to see things your way. So the best way to build that skills, I would say, is to join meetings, debating, or even simple public speaking when you have a chance. So the more you practice, the more natural it becomes. Just touch upon a bit on the legal writing. The judges and clients will read your written arguments before they even hear you speak. So being able to write concisely and persuasively is crucial as well. It's about communicating complex ideas in a simple and structured way. So if you can master both, speaking clearly and writing effectively, I would say you already built the foundation of a good barrister.
Thank you. Next, Elise.
I don't think there's much you can do when you're in your year 3, but other than just being organized and being very disciplined, because everything else, like other in-depth knowledge, you will eventually learn in the bar. But I think having organizational skills and just being really disciplined and knowing how to schedule a time so you can have time to digest and then like process all that information and practice then is really important. Yeah.
Thank you, Elise. Self-discipline is the key. Next, Hui.
I think most importantly is to be able to like grasp what are the most important point that you need to get through like every session or like the scenario papers that you have. Because if you have that ability to be able to immediately identify what are the problems that you have to deal with within like a short period of time, that will actually save you so much time during the assessment. Because like what I said, there will be a lot of like preparatory reading that you have to cover, and then you probably won't have enough time to cover like all the scenario questions that they have provided you that they want you to go through during the classes later. So by actually having that ability to just like focus on, oh, so this is the thing that I have to know. Okay, so what is the answer? What is the point that I have to go through? That itself would save you time, and for you to be able to focus on what the most important part of it, then you would know and you would be able to follow what your lecturer is speaking. Yeah. Oh, most importantly, take time for yourself. Self-care, most important. Yay, well-being. Yay, we're in a well-being country, girl. Yeah, in a well-being country, you just have to pay more attention to like your mental well-being. Don't stress yourself out. Don't try to compare yourself with other people. If you ever do, just try to like take a day off for yourself and be like, it will be a stress-free day where you don't do anything related to studying, because bar is tiring, but you also need to take care of yourself.
Yeah, don't feel guilt, even like if you have one day of the rest to yourself. Very, very, very essential and very honest opinion. So I ever deal with students, they too stressful until the point that they got to stop the bar program just to, too stressful, mentally distressed from the bar program. So that is saddening to hear. So lastly, we have one last questions to would like to ask Hui and Elise. So because you use PDVL service for your bar application, just want to like, how did you comment about the PDVL services for helping you to get through the bar application journey? Hui, would you want to go first?
Oh yeah. For PDVL, right? I'm so sorry. I'm an MT girl fan. She was amazing. She literally settled everything. I didn't have to worry about a single thing. And what's funny is the fact that I didn't even know PDL exists until one day I went on to this Chinese app, Xiaohongshu, where I met her, and I was like so curious about it. I was like, how is it possible that you have a free service for students? But yeah, she was very professional. She settled everything. She will remind you whenever there is a application deadline. She will check up on you just so that you won't feel stressed out with your undergraduate degree, because I mean, of course, you know, undergraduate study is not the end of it. You still have bar, and bar is much more difficult than undergraduate study. So if you are that stressed about your undergraduate study, you would probably not be able to like push yourself through bar. So be nice and just trust MT, trust the PDVL team. They know whatever that they have to do. Provide your documents. If you're afraid, you can just write on top of it and be like, for PDVL purposes, just do that, just so that no one would be able to like take your documents and do anything else. And yeah, MT literally took most of her time to like just make sure that I have everything in order. I can write all my personal statements in time, and she would tell you, she would constantly update you of what are the new requirements for different universities, so that you don't waste your time going through every single thing and be like, oh my god, what do I have to prepare? Yeah, just listen to MT, trust whatever she say, and trust the whole PDVL team that they will settle it for you. They do not charge any fee, and they will literally take that burden off your shoulder, and you won't have to worry about it during your final year study. Good job.
Thank you, Hui. Just want to tell you all, I did not pay Hui to say so. So that it is.
Yeah, so for me, I am personally a very big Mei Ling fan. Mei Ling is not here. I'm very sad that she's not here to hear this. But so Mei Ling, because I'm from Penang, I think Mei Ling is from Penang also. So it's like one thing I really like about PDVL that I think sets them apart from other, because there are a lot, there's UKC, AUG, there's so many, right? Like why should you choose PDVL? So for me, it's like, I think what PDVL does that sets them apart is they're very personalized. Like they have an agent for every single like state, I think, because and then they like basically are very personalized in the sense where they really care about you. Like, I don't know how to say it. It's like you can't fake care, you know? Like even like everything Hui said about MT, like my agent did that for me as well. You know, it's like they will update me before time when like your applications are due. They'll check up on you. They'll make sure it's done. And it's like whenever I text, sometimes like, I have a thought, I'm like, oh shit, like I want to check on this, and it's after work hours, but I'm just like, okay, I'll just text. She can text me back when she's like not when she's like in her working hours. But even though when she's like nighttime, 8 p.m, 9 p.m, or even like 11 p.m in Malaysia, she will still text me back or like even voice message me when she's free. And you know, and like before I was choosing to like, I was like very meticulous in like which bar school I wanted to go to. So I wanted to speak to every bar school representative. So like Mei Ling helped me arrange like a personal Zoom meeting with each and every one of them. I spoke to BPP's rep, I spoke to like ULaw's rep, I spoke to all of them, and she was there with me the whole time, and you know, to discuss with me. Like they're just really personalized and they really care about you. Even until today, like Mei Ling still like regularly checks up on me, make sure I'm okay, you know, like, are you okay, you know, things like that. It's just very, very sweet. Like I think that's what really sets them apart. They don't just treat you as like, oh, I need to just settle this and get it done. Like to them, they actually do care about their students, and they really do like want you to have like a successful like bar journey. That's how I really feel what that sets PDVL aside, and why I really don't regret. I really do recommend like everyone to like seek for their help if you ever need it. And you know what, fun fact, the housemate that I'm staying with right now is also like all thanks to PDVL, all thanks to Mei Ling and MT actually, because for me, like I have a lot of like it's like hard to, I wanted an apartment of only girls, and I didn't want to stay with my guy friends because like personal preference lah, you know, it's a bit hard to stay with guys sometimes. And like it just so happened that, you know, like PDVL was able to like, because obviously they have access to like, you know, they know who is coming to Manchester, they know like their students. So I was just asking them, and Mei Ling helped me arrange it, and she even like checks up to see if like we're like living okay, and now we're like best friends, and like it's so great. So like they really are very like meticulous, and it's like please say it's all free of charge. Question, what advice would I give starting your bar journey? Just be very careful as to where like how which bar school you choose. Although like I think the bar schools may not differ as much. I think actually the most important thing for me personally is I chose the city first, then only I chose the bar school, because for me, I've been to a lot of cities in the UK, and I'm somebody I don't like it when the city is too small or too quiet. I like things to be going on. I like big cities, and London is expensive. Manchester is really just another option for me. And then I just looked at whatever bar schools were in Manchester, and then I compared them. So I think a city and the location is one thing that you need to consider as well. And yeah, just like take time to like find out as much information as you want from PDVL based off the bar schools, based off the locations, and based off the inns, and really like take the time to make your decision. Then like don't rush it, because right now in your degree is when you're the most free, and it's really important to start thinking about all of this and not regret it when you're like already starting the bar, and then you look at your other friends and they're like in other bar schools, and you're just like, oh shit, I should have done that instead. Like you don't want that to happen. So yeah, that's all from me. Thank you.